listening to the Trojan Hour. Yeah, the boys.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Another episode of the Trojan Hour. I'm going to turn our mics up a little bit. How is everyone? Tonight we are joined by Uncle Neville again, Salute, and special guest, long-time listener, Damo. What's happening, brother?
Not a lot, mate. I don't know about special, but we'll soon find out, I suppose.
There's a few definitions for special.
Yes, there is.
I'm sure you meet one or two.
I think you've been probably our top listener, to be honest.
Jeez.
I think you've listened to pretty much every show.
I have.
You have? So we've got 2 listeners and you're one of them, so we've probably only got one other person listening tonight. So
Comments feed will a bit bare tonight.
no, so a lot going on. What are you drinking tonight, Nev?
Back on the book, what is it? Glenfiddich. Project 20.
Glenfiddich. Project 20.
Mm.
What do you got, Damo?
Oh, just a couple of froths, mate.
Couple of froths.
Just
Very
keep it
nice.
simple.
Very nice. So we've got some requests. A lot of people. Neville, keep that mic in front of your
Keep the
beautiful
microphone
face, mate.
yeah.
All right. So we'll focus on that one tonight. And yeah, we should be right.
Happy days.
So what's been happening?
Not a lot. Not a lot. Quiet week.
Quiet week.
Oh, quiet week for me, but not out there. Like you said, there's been a bit going on.
It's a jungle out there, mate. It's a jungle out there. There's been a lot going on, but we wanted to talk a little bit about police this week. It's all about police. We are having police week. So basically, for those that haven't really followed along, ever since, it's gone far beyond, it's been a lot earlier since George Floyd's death. But since George Floyd's death, there's been a lot of calls from the left and from the radical left to defund the police. And not only defund the police, they've spoken about abolishing the police, completely abolishing the police.
Some cities did.
Yes, they did. So look, it's pretty much a slogan that was coined when George Floyd died and the protests and riots were happening. Marxist organisations such as BLM and Antifa were the most vocal in pushing this insane ideology. So then, you got your hard left Democrats, such as those in the Squad, AOC,
I love that.
Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, for example. They've also parroted the phrase. Slightly more moderate Democrats, such as Joe Biden, have found themselves in a bit of trouble within their own party. So they need to keep the radical base happy, but they realise that they'll be alienating the average American voter if they adopted such a crazy plan and if they went along with it, right? So they have to come up with a strategy to usher in the radical without being too obvious. So they say things like, we're not going to defund the police. We're just going to shuffle some funds around, here and there. But the problem is the radical base is so ferocious and or stupid that they don't realise the plan's not to say the quiet part out loud. So when asked by the media, the media will say, look, you guys don't really want to abolish the police, do you? And they're like, yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. Like, we want to get rid of the police. And I've got a clip for you guys, and I want to show. I'll get you guys to new system here. So give us a bit of leg room here because this could go anywhere. It could go anywhere. So I'm going to show people at home as well this clip, and this is a clip that was from the DNC caucus meeting, right? The Democratic caucus meeting. So this is the radicals, what they actually want to do. So I'm going to play this clip. If I can do it. Hang on a minute.
Give this a test run before we...
Oh, I did, but, here we go. Oh, no. What's happening?
Why can't folks imagine a world without the cops? Why can't folks imagine a world without prisons? Why can't people expand their imaginations to include community care, to include an abolitionist future? And I'm talking about like for real abolition, not just watered down DNC version of abolition. We're talking about abolishing the police. We're talking about abolishing ICE. we're talking about abolishing prisons.
That's insane, right?
Mhm.
And they're not saying like abolish, like they're talking
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no
not-
police.
That's
Not
get
cut
rid
the
of.
funding. Just get rid of the whole
It's
system.
funny how they're all talking about it though. They're like, oh, because we'll have social workers and psychologists and everything. And it's like, hang on, how many of them have you checked with that are going to want to go into the Bronx and
Yeah.
deal with these situations? They're all standing back going, hang on, wait, who
Do
said
they
I
get
was
assault
going to do
rifles
that?
or
No, they
I
just
know,
go in there
right?
Unarmed.
It's
Apparently.
unbelievable, right? So, look, solid data suggests that even if you take, you need to spend money on hiring more police officers, right? They need more police in these areas, not less police. So more police, if you look at the data, more police equates to less crime, right? And it doesn't mean, more police, more arrests. It just means more police creates safer environments. It deters crime and it reduces the need to arrest anybody in the first place. And if you look at things like who suffers most when you're talking about, when you take police out of, impoverished neighborhoods, it's the minorities that suffer the most,
That's
right?
the ironic thing about the thing. It's these. Look at that video. You've got two black women
Yeah.
calling for them to abolish the police force. Who's going to get hurt most by it?
Oh, it's the minorities.
The blacks,
Of course they do.
Democratic voters.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I was looking on the Black Lives Matter website today, and
They have changed a lot of their.
and you look at the reasons, like the things that they're saying. They're going, oh, well, violent crime. The cops weren't solving it anyway, so getting rid of them. It's like, what is that going to like? You can't use that as an excuse because they're not a thing that's there that's going to go right. Crime's gone. They're there to as a preventative measure.
Deterrent.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about, if you want to talk about helping the ghettos and helping these neighborhoods, like look at Baltimore, for example, in America, right?
Ravens won today, by the way.
It's the Baltimore Ravens.
They did.
Go Lamar.
Awesome. So if you look at somewhere like that, for example, they've done polls amongst minority groups, right? And it shows that they want more police in their neighborhoods, not less. So, they were asked, some members of your state legislature are proposing increased budget for police and hiring more police officers in high crime areas. If you have to choose, do you support or oppose increasing the number of police officers? So the results were unequivocally favourable to the proposal. 60% of African Americans said yes, we want more police. 65% of Latinos and 74% of whites saying that they support it. So overwhelmingly,
What was the percentage on whites?
74%. Yeah, 74%. So look, the vast majority of people spouting this anti-cop rhetoric are members of the woke elite like LeBron James, Hollywood leftists, politicians that live in gated communities with armed security and
It's
only...
that loud minority.
It is, and these people, these politicians that say, let's abolish the police, they're only seeing a ghetto from their bulletproof windows in their limousines when they're driving through.
And it's like, what are you going to do? Call a social worker at 2:00 in the morning when some guy's beating the piss out of his missus and whatever? You're going to call a social worker and he's going to go down to the ghetto and sort it out.
Yeah, he's got a gun to her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, send a shrink down there.
Just walk in there, hey, mate.
There's a place for that.
There
I
is.
think that really needs to be something that's looked at here as well.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a few things in the news recently with Victorian police, fucking cowboys,
Yes.
really strong arming people who needed mental health help.
Yeah, like that guy recently when they hit him with the car and they were kicking him in the face on the ground. You remember that one?
Yeah.
That one was pretty hard to watch. Yeah.
There was the other one in his front lawn where I think they pepper sprayed him. There's been a few.
Oh, that one who they
Yeah.
did a welfare check.
Yeah. They've got. I think he had a caseworker
Yeah.
who should have been
That's better.
at least called, or someone who familiar with him should have been there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a place for it. I think the money they spend, and we're going the same way. You mentioned Sheplo's got 3 AR-15s.
Yes.
What's an AR-15 worth?
Well, it depends.
Well, at the moment,
Where you buy
yeah,
it.
1,500, 2,000 American dollars.
All right, training.
Ammo's expensive.
ammo, training for all the AR-15s, the
Mhm.
armoured vehicle that they had up here for the siege.
Mm-hmm.
What's it cost to train a police officer in mental health as opposed to doing that?
Yeah.
We need that more up here than we need AR-15s.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's another
And-
thing too. You got police like in America. Some of them, like majority of them, straight out of the academy, they're working like in smaller towns, working for like $14 an hour.
Mm.
It's like who's going to put their life on the line for $14 an hour?
But that's the thing. If they're trained properly, you're not putting your life on the line.
No, and that's true.
But talk about training. So, how would you, if you had more funds for the police, how would you train them differently, or what would you add into their training curriculum that you think could be beneficial?
The way they physically approach a situation needs to be addressed.
Yep.
I get that they've got to be wary of like, we're not an armed nation for the most part.
We should be.
John Howard, you bastard.
I know, you dog. Martin Bryant's innocent.
And you see it when you compare, say, a British police video to an American one. You know, they handle it pretty well. A bloke might be waving a knife, and there's 6 of them there and surrounding with batons.
Wasn't it a thing, that a lot of British police don't carry guns?
They don't.
No.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah, that is crazy. Especially like with the crime rate over there's gotten pretty bad.
Violent
as well.
crime
Yeah.
is really bad.
Yeah.
Violent
For the most
crime
part,
is
it's knife. It's knife.
bad. It's knife.
Yeah.
Well, so
You
what
don't bring-
happens?
you
What
don't-
happens when you take
Bring
away
a bat and
guns?
do a knife fight.
Criminals will still criminals will still have guns, right? But when there's a lack of guns, something's going to fill that vacuum, and it's going to be knives, bats, cars.
Well, that's what my old man, because my old man used to work at, he worked at Beechworth Prison and Durrangol as a screw, and that's what he was used, because I was used to be like, how come you don't have a weapon or anything? He's like, because it's just something that they can take from you.
That's right. You can't do that, especially in
Yeah.
a prison environment. You can't do that.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what the British sort of went off, more or less, and it's weird, but because it's a lot different out there as opposed to a controlled environment like a prison.
So going back to what would you add into the training? How would you make it better?
I'd have not a separate section, but I'd have the option for officers to be like, you've got SWAT, special response, have a mental health department, have police officers who are trained as police officers,
Yep.
but who can also get qualifications in mental health.
Yep.
They're not qualified to deal with a lot of the stuff they're seeing, and a lot of the stuff they are seeing can be dealt with a lot better than
I think
just going
a
in gung-ho, capsicum spray.
Yes, a lack of social skills and a lack of conversation skills is a fucking big issue.
De-escalation is a massive thing that a lot of them don't. Either
They don't
know
have it,
how
mate.
to, or they don't care.
And
A lot of the problem is I've got family members that are police officers. I've got friends that are police officers. And I've got a family member, an uncle that's been a police officer for 20 years. And he said to me, the problem, I asked him a while ago, I said, what's the issue with all these young cops? Why is there so much, what needs to change or what has gone wrong? And he said a lot of the issues is they don't got no life experience. They come straight out of university, go straight into the academy, and they get chucked out on the streets. And they got no fucking idea how to speak to
A lot of them have
people.
watched too much TV too, so they think they need this tough guy persona.
I'm a police officer.
not
You
gonna
do what I
stand-
say, and that doesn't work with everybody.
No, absolutely not.
He was telling me a story the other day. I called him up and we're having a conversation, and he's probably listening now. So he's a traffic cop, right? And highway patrol, and he was saying that he saw this dude driving past in a truck, this big Samoan dude in a truck on his phone, looking down his phone. So they pull him over, and he walks up to the guy, and he's like, he said, before I got to the truck, the dude jumped out. This big Samoan, he goes, he was fucking huge. He goes, this guy was a monster. And he goes, I said, how you going, mate? You're just on your phone back there. And he goes, no, I wasn't, bro. Like that. And he's
Not
like,
even, not even.
and
bro.
he goes, fuck. I'm thinking, fuck, here we go, right? He goes, look, you were, mate. It's all good. These things happen, And he goes, nah, bro, I was looking at the time. And he's like, yeah. And he goes,
That's still on your phone. Though.
he goes, I changed it. And this is what a less experienced cop could have done, or, someone without the social skills, they would have gone, you were on your phone, mate. We saw you on your phone and blah, blah, blah. But he changed the subject. He goes, I changed the subject and said, don't you have a clock in your truck, mate? He's like, oh, no, it's broken and they haven't fixed it. And he's like, oh, get onto your boss, mate. Yeah, make him fix your bloody truck. It's shit happens, and it doesn't mean you're a bad bloke and whatever. And he said, I conversed with this guy, and then we were talking about his kids and all this stuff, and it was all good. He goes, I gave him the ticket, and he was fine with it, but he was ready to fight when he got out of the truck. And he goes, and if I was one of those cops where I had no social skills and I was really authoritarian and really bland with no personality, he goes, it could have escalated, right? And I think in my opinion, I think, do you know what I think is essential in the police training curriculum?
What's that?
Jiu-jitsu.
Oh, fucking hell.
Okay, Joe Rogan.
Then we can take out Bruce Lee.
But seriously, man, like, honest to God, have a look at. I've been balls deep. There's this YouTube channel called Active Self Protection. And it's this guy.
I tried to watch a couple.
What do you mean you tried?
I tried.
They're unreal. It's like a lot of badge cams and stuff from America, right? Of cops and when they're responding to active shooters and all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of videos on there where the police will be wrestling with people or trying to take people down. And
I've seen so many where they get overpowered so
man,
easy.
I look at these cops and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you've got no fucking
If
idea.
only you knew.
You've got no clue, because it doesn't matter if you've got a gun on your holster. If someone's got you by the neck, you can't even pull it out half the time. You're in a scrap for your life. And basic jiu-jitsu can easily save those cops' lives.
Yeah.
And it can stop people getting shot, right?
But like you said,
It'll stop those fear shootings. It'll stop the 5 guys on the front line beating the shit out of the mentally ill dude because they can't restrain him.
But then do you run into the problem of, instead of the feel to need their weapon, they're like, well, I can take this bloke, and they're choking people
Well,
out.
maybe.
Left, right and centre.
But I think overall it would be better. Like, you look at...
I mean, you'd rather someone unconscious than dead, of course.
Absolutely. Like, if you look at... I've got a mate that's a police officer, hasn't been in there very long, but took it on his own accord. Big guy. He's 6'5", I think, 6'4", 6'5", athlete, very strong.
Yeah.
Took it upon himself to enroll in jiu-jitsu. And he's a blue belt now, and good luck getting away from him. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the size, he's got the athleticism, he's got the power, and he's got the skill now. Like, and people don't realize a blue belt in jiu-jitsu...
In what, sorry?
Jiu-jitsu will fuck up most people, with ease. Blue belt is a pretty big deal in jiu-jitsu. Not when you're rolling against other blue belts in jiu-jitsu, but to the average person, a blue belt is a
Enough to
fucking
get
weapon. Of course. And I think it's really important. Like, if you look at someone like Hannah Gracie, for example, shout out to Hannah. I'm a student, Hannah, so if you want to come on the show, be my guest. He's doing, him and his family have done they got a thing called Gracie University, and they're doing jiu-jitsu for law enforcement and military. So, which is just pertains to them, you know what I mean? And it's really, really good. And I think...
Is that still something that they've got to enroll for, or is it something the police departments...
I'm not too sure. I know they're working with police departments to do this, and I think it's something that every cop... And I know it might not be realistic to make every police officer become a blue belt or something, but I think there should be some level of, proper jiu-jitsu or martial arts training that goes into their training. You know what I mean?
Because they do get the basic sort of, hand sort of training.
Very, very basic.
But it's minimal as.
Yeah, very basic.
It's
I think
self-defense.
that's part of the problem
not
is they're taught to rely on their belt sort of thing, guns, tasers, pepper spray. They're taught to rely on that.
But I think that's the problem when you get the 65-kilo woman straight out of the academy, 18-year-old, face full of makeup, and she's faced with this really daunting fucking situation where she's got some nutcase running at her. It's like, holy shit, fucking bang, 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 bang. Probably miss half the time and shoot somebody else.
Yep.
That's the problem. It's those fear shootings and those, and I get it, man. I've seen some of these issues with the police, and it's like, holy shit, that's scary as fuck.
And that's sort of the thing with America as well. Why it's one of those things where it's like the situations that they get put in a lot of the time with a lot of the stories that they hear and things that are in the news every day and everything. Like it's one of those things where you're going, someone's going to have a gun here.
That's a whole other discussion, though. The conditioning of fear.
Yeah,
that's
in people,
and especially like I was saying about how much they get paid. It's like, man, if I'm going in,
it's peanuts. And who the fuck would want to be a cop now?
Yeah,
well, talking about defunding the police. The budgets are plummeting because they're losing cops.
But not only that, they're you've got it's been a political move by the Democrats now to that they want, like when this whole George Floyd thing blew up, and then it was the other, what was his name, Rayshard Brooks, and all these other ones just happened afterwards, and you've got people burning the streets down, right? You've got in Chicago, they're banning the use that they're stopping police from being able to use rubber bullets, tear gas to disperse violent crowds. So they're tying these police officers' hands behind their backs.
I would have thought rubber bullets would have been something that's almost essential. Like, why wouldn't you want rubber bullets?
Yeah, because they argue it can still kill people. It's like,
It's
well, what
less
do you?
lethal. It's less lethal.
But it's like, what do you expect the police to do at this
Yeah.
point? Do you expect them to just wait around and fucking die because they're not allowed to do anything?
Yeah.
And that's why, why would you want to be a cop now?
I remember years ago, the non-lethal thing was huge. Beanbag bullets, rubber bullets,
Yes.
foam that would stick people to the ground.
Yeah.
Didn't see any of that now.
And
It's
that's
just,
because there was that whole period where suicide by cop was just rampant. There was just so much of it.
Yeah.
it was
the
in
old-
the news. That doesn't necessarily.
That's right,
It's
that's
a lot
right.
of it. There's
But-
a couple here. It's the same as
Oh,
the
but I
same
mean,
as
a lot
the
of
You talk about that. You talk
it's the
about
same as the Black Deaths.
That's right. It's very, very low. Like
Yeah.
you look at the millions and millions and millions of interactions with police every year.
Yeah.
I think last year they had 11 unarmed black men that were killed, 11 in
Yeah.
the whole country,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that they're not dangerous either. It just
Yeah.
means
No.
they didn't all have weapons on them.
Yeah. And that's the thing that you can't ignore. You that's the one thing that like BLM and all that just choose to ignore is you can't ignore the stats. And
That's right.
they don't lie.
But they use the media and they use the politicians to
Terms like
push.
they're being slaughtered in the streets. Like, come
Yeah,
on,
like
you're
every
not
time I
being-
They're
you're
like
being
LeBron James.
hunted.
People listen to LeBron James.
Yeah.
We're being hunted.
Yeah.
We're being. Oh, are you LeBron?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Every time I
man.
step out my front door, it's a death sentence. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously.
It's just complete anti-cop bullshit pushed
I
by these Marxist groups that want to tear down the system. They want to tear everything down.
I can't remember the last time I read about a law-abiding citizen getting shot by police. I can't.
Or that guy that was crawling?
Like, I mean,
Yes,
like,
what
I mean,
was his name?
intentionally, not.
yeah, no,
That was a
100%.
bad one.
What was
Oh
he-
my god, what was his name? I know all about it.
He had a plastic gun, didn't he?
No. He had air rifles. He was a pest controller, and he was in a hotel. This was a couple of years ago. He was in a hotel. We've got to get his name. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Dylan.
Nah. Do you want to search for it while I'm telling the story? He was a white dude, and he was in a hotel in America. He was a pest controller, so he had air rifles for shooting rats and whatever else, right?
Is that something that's normal for pest control?
Yeah.
I thought
No,
they
it
had
is.
like
Daniel
chemicals
Sha-
and
Daniel
gases
Shaver.
and shit.
What was his name? Sorry,
Daniel Shaver.
Daniel Shaver. That's right.
That does ring a bell. That name.
So he was in a hotel room, and he'd met these people in the hotel. He was on a work trip, and he met these people in the hotel room. And he's like, "Hey, come up and have a few drinks in my hotel." And they were up in the hotel, and there was a guy and a woman in the hotel with him. And he said they noticed this big bag, and being a guy, he's like, "Hey, come check out. You want to see what it is? Come check it out." So they checked it out, air rifles. I think the other dude picked up the air rifle and he's like, "Oh, this is cool," and he was aiming it around, and someone from
Out the
outside
window, yeah, right.
saw out the window like, "Holy shit, this dude's got a fucking gun in the hotel."
Jesus.
So they called the cops, and the cops came there fully armed to the
Yeah.
teeth because fair enough. They think there may be an
They
active
don't know
shooter
any. Yeah.
in the hotel room.
Not just armed to the teeth, armed with their personal guns out of the gun locker at home.
Yeah. So the cop that committed the shooting. Spoiler alert, they shot him. So pretty much what happened was they were screaming, "Get out, come out of the room!" And the woman come out, and they made both of them get on their knees and their stomach and crawl and do all these weird charades and crawl towards them. And they let the woman go, and he was on his hands and knees, and they made him
Crawl towards
This
it.
Crawl
is ringing a
towards
bell now. I think I know what you're talking about.
You need to look at the footage. Like,
Oh
I think,
man,
no, I think I did.
brutal.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
But they pretty much set him up to fail, right?
Oh, 100%.
And he was drunk too. He'd had a few drinks. And he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, please don't shoot me." And he had no weapons or anything, but he had these baggy fucking basketball shorts on.
Yeah, yeah.
And as he was crawling towards him with his hands up, his basketball shorts were falling down.
Yep.
And he reached to grab his basketball shorts, and they just
Yeah.
Well, the one cop just lit him up like a Christmas tree. Just just killed him instantly.
And this
right?
kid's like, he's sobbing, he's
He was
crying,
crying, begging
on the-
for his
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like, don't shoot me, don't shoot me.
That is a bad one, but nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's white.
But that's what I mean. If they you'd think surely if they let the Sheila go or whatever, that they someone would have said, "Oi, they're not real guns." FYI,
Until they've got him in their hands, I can't.
The cop got
Yeah.
acquitted. The cop got off.
Oh, really?
He got off because they, all the evidence and all the, the everything that was taken into account. They're like, they were going to this what they thought was an active shooter. He did reach. They told him not to reach. He did reach for his
Surely
pants.
basketball shorts, you could see if you had anything tucked in his waist.
That's why
or
you don't
something.
wear basketball shorts.
Yeah, I suppose. Guess not.
Sagging is fagging.
Fucking
But
LeBron,
like you said,
LeBron
what-
was
like-
right. He is.
The gun that he had, just run through the gun that the cop.
Oh yeah, so the cop had his own personal AR-15 that he was cleared to use. So it's a weird thing. I don't know the exact details, but he got cleared to use his own personal weapon
Right.
on the job.
Right.
Because he said, he made the argument that it's more accurate, and he may need to take longer shots. And he
Doesn't
can
that
use a
happen
handgun.
though a lot, especially with like SWAT and things like
Well,
that?
I'm
Aren't
sure
they
it may
allowed-
happen.
I think they do use a lot of their own personal guns that are cleared by the.
Then why the fuck are they spending all this money on the police force if it's just bring your own gun?
Oh, because they obviously have
Like
their
they've
own.
militarised the police force
They
over
obviously
there.
have their own.
But he had a
armories
dust
and whatnot.
cover.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He had a dust. This is what was pretty damning, but this wasn't allowed into evidence. He had a dust cover on the AR-15 that said it had writing on scrawled on that said "You're fucked."
oh really?
Yeah,
Fuck, you know.
yeah. So like he was itchy trigger
Yeah,
finger. Like he was just
yeah.
itching to kill someone.
Oh, this one's been signed by Charlton Heston.
Yeah, if it wasn't that guy in the hotel, it was someone else.
But yeah, that was a bad one. If you look at that, that's a bad one. But
But that's one of
millions of interactions, millions and millions and millions of interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I see more. I don't see more. You see more fuck ups by the police in the fact that where they don't have training, they might get into a shootout, they might shoot somebody else, or they might injure themselves or do dumb shit. I watched one the other day, and the guy was running. The guy pulled up for a welfare check on this dude that was mentally a bit crazy, right?
Yeah.
Pulls up to this guy's house. The guy's not there, so he jumps over the fence. The cop jumps over the fence, and he walks in. He's looking around, and
Are
the
they
guy's
allowed
not
to do
there.
that?
Well, I don't know. But then the dude come home, sees the cop car there, walks up to the cop car, starts firing bullets at the cop car where there's no cops in there,
Right.
drives in, and then starts firing at the cop. And you see the cop running all the way back to his car. He's got his back to this dude, running, shitting himself, screaming no, right? This cop jumps over the fence, falls over. The dude's chasing him, firing at him. He turns around, he shoots the dude in the arm, and then the dude runs off. I'm like, what the fuck
Jiu-jitsu.
were you doing?
Yeah.
Right? But like, you're a cop, man, and you got your back turned to this guy running away for your life, screaming no.
Yeah.
shooting like this.
There was one I seen not long ago too. That there's a mum called the coppers on her son who was acting crazy or whatever, and the copper goes to the door, and the kid comes charging down at him with a shotgun and shot him like he had the vest on. He survived. He shot him like point blank with a shotgun because they were wrestling with it, whatever. And it's just like you never know what you're gonna get.
Best one I saw was it's like there's got to be 10 cops surrounding a front door on a porch. Someone's filming from over the road. Black kid opens the door, pants down around, fucking hanging down past his waist. Shoot me, nigga! And he's just screaming, just shoot me, nigga, shoot me! And you just hear one gunshot, just. And he's down.
It's like a South Park episode. This is somewhere. All right.
Funny as like normally.
I'll have to find that one.
The American shootings, you used to like one guy unloading a clip, reloading, emptying half the clip. This is just one little down he goes.
With a 22 LR.
Best one I've seen.
Yeah, that's awesome. But look, I don't think the answer is defunding the police.
No, definitely not.
No.
They need more funding and they need more police.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about building up these impoverished areas, how do you think you do that? How do you think you get economic growth? How
They
do you
do it
think
by
you
taking
get
money away.
How do you get businesses to go, okay, let's fucking invest money and build a business in this neighborhood? You put more police, you make it safer, right? You give people a reason. You give that neighborhood a chance at growing, people creating jobs, confidence in the community. You don't take police away.
This is my thing with the Black Lives Matter movement. The
It's full of
statement Black
shit.
Lives Matter. No, well, the statement, 100%. No one would.
Yeah, but
In
I
their
hate,
right
Who's
mind.
disagreeing?
I
No.
hate that it only applies to them.
They've hijacked it.
That's
right?
what I hate.
It's been weaponized.
Exactly.
statement's been weaponized.
Yes,
Yeah.
Now,
it has.
If Black
And it's
Lives
taking
really,
away-
If Black Lives really mattered, though, surely the black on black crime in their own communities,
They don't care about
they
it.
don't care about it.
That
Why?
doesn't. It's only Black Lives Matter when
That are
it,
killed by cops.
that's
yeah,
right.
those 9 unarmed men, their lives matter more than the millions of other black
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, they don't care about.
who are disadvantaged.
They're
for
getting
one reason or
millions
another.
millions of dollars in funding,
But-
right? And
and
they're
they've done
doing
nothing
nothing,
with
for the
Nothing.
communities.
Have you noticed that since Joe Biden won the election, that
Internet
Black
is under
Lives-
pressure.
You haven't heard shit from Black Lives Matter.
No, you haven't.
Nothing from
No,
them.
no. The riots will stop and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, when he gets it'll stop for a little bit,
Yeah.
but it won't stop for.
Until the next thing goes wrong and they go, "Well, it worked last time.
No,
Let's do it again."
we'll see what
Well,
happens
now
when
they're
he puts this
pushing when
lockdown.
there's mush.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens when he locks people in their homes and starts arresting them for coming out. We'll see what happens then.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Mm.
That's already not working very well for them.
But did you hear about the I don't know if this is I read a thing on it, but I don't know if it's legit or not. That the letter that Joe Biden's team got from BLM saying, "Righto, we got you elected. Now, what are you going to do for us?"
Illicit demands.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Unreal.
But that's what And that's what Joe Biden's going to have to deal with because...
Well, for the 6 months he's cognizant.
yeah, well, Kamala Harris will have to deal with it because you got... They're in big trouble. The Democratic Party are in big trouble of imploding from inside because they're so split. They've got these radical socialist members like the Squad and Bernie Sanders, but then you've got the more moderates.
Bernie's looking kind of centrist.
Compared to the Squad, yeah.
Yeah, see, my dot on that little test thing is close to Bernie.
But like they're having these infights where they're starting to fight amongst themselves because of policies and like they're not seeing eye to eye. They're fighting amongst each other and they're arguing with each other. So you may see a few of these mainstream kind of moderate Democrat, the last few that there are, they may jump ship to Republicans.
Yep.
But yeah, they're going to have to figure that out because it's a whole world of hurt.
There was also a thing I read on a website today, and it was saying that in New Jersey, in Camden,
Jersey,
the local police department was disbanded, police corruption and all that jazz. And it says the county now runs the department and has implemented de-escalation training, defined chokeholds as deadly force.
Chokeholds, but define what is a chokehold?
Well, I suppose anything cuts off your air supply, I guess.
Define a chokehold though. Like they don't know what a fucking real chokehold is.
No,
an 8-minute chokehold is excessive.
Yeah.
Well,
and it says,
but that wasn't really. That's not a chokehold.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
That's how they define. That's what they're defining a chokehold as.
But does it? But what does that mean then? If I'm a police officer and I'm in a scuffle with somebody, and instead of me yanking my headphones out, instead of me pulling my gun out and shooting them, and I grapple with them and I put them in a rear naked choke and put them to sleep for 3 seconds, which is completely harmless. Is that a chokehold? Am I not allowed to do that?
That would absolutely be defined as a chokehold, but that's where I think
it's stupid.
That's where I think the distinction is. It's like, would you rather someone be unconscious or dead?
But that's what I'm saying. They've politicized the whole thing.
John McCarthy to come in and lift the arm.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're saying as well. Like they said, that is excessive force, but officers were also tasked with patrolling on foot, introducing themselves to the residents and hosting community barbecues. But they also said that they implemented something where officers are required to step in if they think a fellow officer is going too far and being too rough sort of thing.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Like if a police officer sees someone kneeling on someone's neck, they go, come on, man, what the fuck?
And that's
fair enough.
That happened with Floyd.
Yeah.
The Asian
the three
officer
others standing around
actually said, like, should we be doing this? Isn't this like we've got him?
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
he actually said, like, and it was his like 4th day on the job, and the other cop tapped him on the just to let it be.
Hey, it's normal.
Like,
it's normal.
This is how we do it.
When they did that in New Jersey, though, they said violent crime dropped 42% between 2012 and 2019. And in a comparison, the FBI estimates nationwide violent crime fell 9%.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, the reform can work.
It can work, but but taking money away is not going to help them.
No.
Just
like the whole thing, this whole thing with the whole defund the police and Democrats letting these cities burn. It's just a political move. It was a political move to blame Orange Man for everything, right?
Yeah.
For all the racial division, and they blame it all on Trump. But they put their own first responders' lives on the line to do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
It's
that sucks.
disgusting, right? It's disgusting. And they say, they're living in such a fascist dictatorship.
I hate that word, like that's...
It means nothing now.
Yeah.
It means nothing. But they're saying that the systematic racism is so deep and so entrenched in America, but yet you've got the police running away from the mob.
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous.
And it's, a lot of the time too, it's the media and BLM, how they frame it. Like
of course.
Reading a story on the Black Lives Matter website about it, how they framed, they were saying the UPS truck that got hijacked and stuff. They were saying the cops shot the shit out of it. They surrounded it and shot the shit out of it. Never once mentioned that the 2 guys that hijacked the truck were armed. They shot first.
Yeah.
And everything. Like just the way they frame it.
That's pretty normal.
Makes it so damning. And it's unreal. Oh. Like it makes me wonder how they are able to get away with it. Because I always thought growing up, the media was held to a certain standard. You know what I mean? They're not allowed to lie. They're not allowed to tell you things that are false.
When we were growing up, they probably were a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot
no
more
one
than
holds
they
their feet to the fire. It's like, how do you discern truth from bullshit nowadays?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think we can all agree that defunding the police is a stupid idea.
Yeah.
And they need more training. And I think reforming, I don't even like the word reform, but I think we can add a few things to to help.
Mental, I think
Mental
you need
health's
to,
a
you need to
big thing,
identify,
yeah.
You need to identify when a mental health professional is needed.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
And I think having not a separate mental health practitioner come in, but having the police trained, someone in each station trained to handle that. But like you've used the term de-escalation a few times. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
massive. I work
What do they call it? Mental judo? Is that what they call it?
mental jiu-jitsu.
Isn't it?
Mental
Jiu-jitsu
jiu-jitsu.
of the
Like,
mind.
I worked pubs for years, and the best bouncers, like the really good bouncers, they could all go. You wouldn't want to fuck with them, but
They could have a joke with you.
the best bouncers would have a bloke out the front door.
Before he realised he's
Before,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's happened to me a couple of times. not that I'm a big bloke or anything, but before I've noticed it, I'm standing out the front going,
yeah.
"What the fuck's
How
that?"
ready to
how the
go,
fuck
ready
did
to
you
go
do that?
upstairs.
Just mind
You
fucking.
know, can I have this count? And then all of a sudden they're out the front. Off you go, mate. And
Yeah.
it's done.
Yes.
It's done.
Yeah, no, I agree. De-escalation, it's the social skills and the conversation skills.
And it's something that was
are
your
lacking.
uncle. Something as simple as changing a topic, changing the subject.
Yeah,
And
and
I
not
don't
just
know if
not
it's-
just blatantly arguing with the guy.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's something, like I said, like you get some of them that have that arrogance about them. I don't know if it's something where they think, oh, if I sort of come down to his level, I'm going to look weak. Like it's not. It's,
I don't know. I think a
I
lot of
think
it
that's-
comes down to fear.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are scared, so they're just going back to their training and they're just being really authoritarian.
Yeah.
I don't know, but a lot of, they really need to.
Especially
Like
in today's day and age, I think they think the badge means a lot more than it does.
I agree too. Yeah.
But I mean, and that's a very small number of them, not all of them.
Yeah,
by any
that's
means.
right. Yeah, I'm very pro cop. I've always been
Absolutely,
pro cop.
absolutely.
But I think there's always room for improvement.
But and it's like anything else. You're always going to have always going to have your one or two dickheads in
Yeah.
every.
You can have more than that.
No, well,
Oh boy, I think we should move on. So I think we can say 2020 has proven tough for everyone, but the group we really should feel sorry for
uh-oh.
is the narcissistic, sanctimonious, attention-seeking celebrities that have had their spotlight hijacked by COVID. So it's only natural to expect an uptick in moronic, attention-seeking behaviour.
What are you talking about? They
Men
took
in dresses.
responsibility. How dare you?
Men in dresses, woke political theatrics, and of course, what better attention-seeking behaviour than becoming trans?
Oh wow!
It's not new. It's not breaking
That's so
news.
brave, though.
Right? It's stunning and brave. It's not breaking news, but we had to talk about the extreme fucking pandering and complete woke journalism by the likes of the New York Times when it comes to Ellen Page, but now Elliot Page, Juno star.
Do you know what the thing that annoys me most about that is they keep going Elliot Page, star of no, Ellen Page was
Yes.
the star of Juno, not
And that's what
Elliot
I'm going to
Page.
say. That's what I
Yeah.
want to show you
Yeah,
guys.
nothing.
I want to read you
He was
guys.
only born yesterday.
I wanna
That's not the
read
thing
you
that
guys
annoys me
this.
most, but it's one of them.
I want to read you guys this. This was the New York Times article that they released when this news hit. Right? I want just fucking read this and see how stupid this headline is. So here it is for people that are watching at home. Elliot Page, Oscar-nominated Juno star, announces he is transgender. So, okay, is he turning female? I don't know. From that
No,
fucking.
he was a female. is
I
now
know, but from this
they don't give
headline,
you enough
it's
info.
so fucking, it's so stupid and confusing.
Yeah.
Just let me check IMDb to see who Elliot Page played in Juno. Because
That's right. And
not in the
that's
credits.
look,
Yeah.
and you go to the Wikipedia, right? Here we go. Read the Wikipedia. It gets even stupider. Elliot Page, right? It says born Ellen Grace Phillip, whatever.
Yeah.
Is a Canadian actor and producer. He first became known for his role in the film and television series Pit Pony.
No, he did.
For which he won a Young Artist Award. And for recurring roles in Trailer Park Boys, oh, that suits.
Yeah.
Regenesis, Page also received recognition for his role in the film Hard Candy. So this is the thing that they do.
I thought she had a brother when I first read
Well,
it.
that's
I'm like,
that's
hang on, how
what
have I never heard
you
of
would
this?
assume, right? So, look, I'm just a transphobic, bigoted, cis white male, so what do I know? But wouldn't it be easier to decipher the headline as Ellen Page, Juno star, announces that she is transgender, identifies as male,
Yeah.
right? Wouldn't that be, okay, I can understand, I can follow that,
Yeah.
right?
Now I can move on because I don't give a fuck.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, but that's
Yeah.
what I mean. It's attention seeking. But of course, we have to pander to the notion that she's always been the gender she now identifies with. She's always been a man.
Which is funny because if she's always been a man, why has she been a lesbian?
That's, exactly.
Yeah.
So now we all have
We'll
to
get into- I'll
pretend,
get into that,
right?
trust
So now we all have to pretend that she was a man in Juno, but acting as a woman. he was also a man playing a female character in X-Men. Pretty fucking impressive. A man playing a woman in Inception, and also a man playing a woman in every other film he has ever been in, despite being born with a vagina. So when he was born as a man, because he's always been a man, okay? Always been a man, but was misgendered at birth, right? As a female.
Stupid doctors, bro.
Doctors playing God, am I right?
How hard is it to tick the right fucking
Doctors playing God.
Tick the box.
Forget the there was no
Lack thereof.
no balls and penis there.
It was just a very heavy circumcision.
We're expected to play along with this notion that he has always been a man.
Yeah.
It's always been Elliot.
Yep.
Right? So when he's born a man, misgendered as a female, then we've got she was a lesbian, got married to another lesbian, but is now a straight white male married to a lesbian. Cool. Gotcha. Makes heaps of fucking sense.
And that's my thing about it, is that if she was a lesbian, right, and now he is a straight male, so
Where does
that
that leave
also
the missus?
makes her lesbian partner now a straight
You
woman.
stole with that. That's exactly what I mean.
And then
Stewart on this all.
but then it comes down to also, because if they don't consider themselves a straight couple, then they toe the line of a trans male's not really a male. So it's like, well, you can't have both.
Well, they can. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Like gender is malleable and sex is malleable, and men can become a woman, and we're all the
Yeah,
same.
no, I understand
but
that.
yet feminists and
But then
it
if they
directly
turn around
flies
and say that they're not a straight couple now, then that's saying that he's not really a male.
that. Well, there you go.
So it's sort of they're stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
Well,
and then
they
you
are.
have Scarlett Johansson.
Do you know why? Because it's stupidity and it doesn't make sense, and it flies against basic biology, and it's
Yeah.
it's
No,
fucking.
so, well, I'm all for trans. I think there's and I went looking for this article for all of 30 seconds that I mentioned the other week.
In-depth research.
In-depth, hardcore. Something shiny popped up and I'm distracted. I mentioned that someone said to me that there is actually evidence for biological chromosomal difference for some trans people.
As in
Some.
what how?
I don't know.
I think
didn't want to
Crowder-
get into an argument with
I think Crowder debunked this the other day.
Really?
I was listening. Yeah, he's got to change my mind. Part 2, with there are 2 genders. Check it out. And there's been studies before and after that one that are more conclusive.
Yeah,
And look, I took it on face value because I can see it. Like I said, you've got hermaphrodites who are born with both sex organs.
We don't use the term hermaphrodite anymore. It's intersex.
dare you,
How
Nichols.
dare
How
you?
dare you?
It is intersex. That's what I say now.
It should be a they hermaphrodite, not hermaphrodite. They hermaphrodite.
Zero hermaphrodite.
But on face value, I can see that. I can see that someone's born with more of certain hormones. That makes
Yeah.
it, so I can see that. So trans for me, I think is fine to a point. I think the whole kid thing that we touched on the other week
Gross.
is
Problematic.
wrong. What was it 75 or 85% of kids who aren't?
Grow out of it.
It
Yeah,
could go
they-
awry.
Yeah, well, it often does.
But
So a
don't
5-year-old
infringe on Don't infringe on
And this is
Our right
everybody
to make our
else's
child how we
freedoms,
want.
right?
the trans side of things. I'm okay. With.
Don't go policing language.
The 85 other fucking.
But-
It's insane.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to call yourself, oh God, the only one I can think of is pansexual, and pansexuals, these are the people that fucking marry trees. If you want to call yourself pansexual, fantastic, but don't expect to be able to get a separate fucking toilet at
Yeah.
the supermarket. For
Yeah, and don't try to throw me in jail because I misgendered you or
Yeah.
didn't use this fucking zero
Yeah.
or zay
Yeah.
fucking
And
pronouns.
that's the thing. If you don't, you have to remember that people that don't know you or don't know the situation,
Yeah.
they can only go on face value. So if they make an error and say, "Look, he instead of she," get the fuck over it.
and
Like,
don't
you're
get
not doing it to
offended if
upset
you look like a man.
Yeah,
Do
that's-
something about it.
And then, but you have also the thing with Scarlett Johansson, how she turned around
Oh,
and
yeah, she's
she
not-
tweeted saying,
Don't ruin Scarlett. For me.
she is a white woman, like what she should be able to play the roles that she gets, regardless. 'cause she
Oh,
was-
that's a big no-no now.
Because she was scheduled to play a trans person. in the
Yeah,
movie.
yep. But
And
now
they
Elliot Page can
they
do
all
it.
went shit, but now Elliot Page is now a guy playing a lesbian on that Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, so we have to
So,
cancel
like-
every.
That's right.
We have to cancel
Or is it
everyone
because
of her
That's
previous
the
shows.
problem
And it's
with
the
these
other thing.
radical leftist
Because she's
ideologies.
trans,
They,
there's a separate set of rules. She can play both.
Well,
like that's not
the dragon that eats their tail. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
So they're going the other way with Umbrella Academy now. Umbrella Academy is based on a graphic
Comic.
novel.
Yeah.
So they're actually
Changing
they've come
the
out
script, aren't
and
they?
they are going to write into the script that her character is now trans, not just lesbian. But
That's
transgender.
what that is.
That's
how woke is that?
crazy.
How woke is that?
And
Crazy.
that's the good thing that I like about comic book fans is they don't give a fuck about how woke you are. If you change something that's in
They'll be
comic
all
book
over
law,
it.
they'll be like, fuck you, put
You
it back.
broke comic book law, you fuck.
Put it back, you piece of shit.
Get him, Steve Dave.
But it is insane, and like you look at the dictionary, and they're rewriting language, they're erasing history, they're changing things just to appease this tiny fucking minority that's very, very loud, and people need to just say no to it.
Yeah.
Because it's a slippery slope, man. As we're going to talk about these other things with
I think, can you imagine growing up if your parents said something and you turn around and go, I'm offended by that? And turn around and go, get the fuck over it. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Like, who cares?
bad.
If you're offended, go be offended elsewhere. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't care.
It's insane. It is insane, and it's the language policing, the thought policing.
Well, I think social
Where
media
does it
has
stop?
played a massive role in that, is that people now are under the assumption that everybody wants to hear their thoughts.
Everyone's got an opinion on
and,
social
and,
media,
and it's important.
Yeah.
And it's not.
no,
like-
no one cares.
Just because people can hear what you say doesn't mean that what you have to say needs to be heard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's fucking insane. But you look at these celebrities that aren't allowed to play. What's that? What they were talking about, Neville? You can't play disabled people anymore. Actors
Yeah.
can't. They're not allowed to do that anymore.
Because that Bryan
Yeah.
Cranston did one with Kevin Hart, where he was a guy in a wheelchair, quadriplegic or whatever.
you got in trouble for it.
Well, they started to carry on about
But
it.
who's the one recently that got in trouble for it? Or they went for a part and then they had to pull out because they're like, you're taking jobs
was
from
it,
disabled
Not
actors.
Was
sure.
it Hedwig? The one they were redoing Hedwig?
There's a few of them that I think
Yeah.
have been in trouble
Because I
recently.
know Breaking Bad almost got caught in that trap because when they did his son.
Is he not disabled?
No, he is. But
Oh,
they,
he
were-
is. I was
they
gonna
were-
say,
they-
fuck, he
they-
played it well.
They were going to cast someone who wasn't.
Dad,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
Dad.
They were going to cast someone that wasn't, and they very, very narrowly avoided that.
But he was
Yeah,
good.
but
He
that
was.
was that was done well before.
He
I think,
plays
as
it
yeah,
well.
I know, but like I said, people dig up 6 years ago,
Yeah.
everything. So
I'm just waiting for Daniel Day-Lewis to have to give back his Oscar for My Left Foot.
no, you don't have
What
to
was
give
that?
back
I don't know.
awards,
I don't
'cause
know about that
otherwise,
one.
doesn't Bruce Jenner have to give back all these Olympic medals?
No.
You don't have to give shit back. You just get to, and Ellen Page has still got all the titles that she was in, so you get to keep everything.
They just rewrite. It depends. I suppose it depends on the person. Depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any. They change the rules all the time. The
Yeah.
goalposts.
And that's, yeah, absolutely. Never in the same spot twice.
No. But yeah, it's like when Joe Rogan talks about it. When Bruce Jenner, when people started questioning things. Oh, she's always been a woman.
Ugh.
Love it. So, Elliot Page, we wish you well, my friend. And like Crowder said, you've picked the worst thing to transition into, a cis white male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Good luck with that. Welcome to our world.
Yes.
One of
yep.
us. One of us.
She's one of us. He's one of us. Sorry. Jesus Christ.
I don't even know what half of it fucking means though. Like they talk about like all the terminology, like cis, white, like
Because it's literally being
I hear
created
it, and it
every day.
goes
It's
into
being
my-
made.
Yeah.
And this is like transgenderism's been around since the dawn of time, like blokes dressing as women and vice versa. Like how many 60-year-old trans are now coming out and going,
I regret it.
I'm actually a pansexual, I'm a furry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
because they're not, because it's not a thing. Like
No, it's not.
It's not real. It's an attention grabbing. Oh, that doesn't suit. And like we said about the kids the other week, a lot of these kids they're just different. They're just looking for identity, They're looking for acceptance.
And people seem to be completely overlooking the fact that children absorb everything around them. Like if you have a young boy that grows up around a single mum and 2 sisters, he's going to adopt a lot of feminine qualities because that's all he knows. That's all he
Yeah.
sees.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he wants to be a girl. It doesn't
That's
mean
right.
anything
No,
like
no.
that.
It's ridiculous. But it hasn't been around very long either. It's a very new thing. Like when you
It's-
talk about modern gender theory.
With the advent of social media, it's just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's
of course.
absolutely skyrocketed.
It's like, and like we were talking about with Abigail Schreier's book and stuff, it's a craze now. It's become
It's a
the
fad.
flavour of the month. It's a fad, yeah. It's like lesbianism was when every girl that I went to school with all of a sudden turned lesbian because, and now it's turning into this
It's just what they were telling
transgender.
me off.
Yeah, and Joe Rogan was talking to someone about it. Like, I think he was, I don't know, someone who's got a lot of trans friends or something. I don't know, someone who's unqualified. But anyway, he was saying that, he's going to, because being trans isn't a choice or whatever. It's what they think. And Joe's going, yeah, but it's a choice for the parents to fill their kid with hormones
Yes.
that are potentially
Yeah.
dangerous. That's a choice, and they make it.
It's to gain woke points for themselves.
Yeah.
They're narcissistic parents that have
it's
got a lot of
unreal.
fucking issues.
It's unreal how
Yeah,
they do it,
I was-
and they push it on them almost,
Yep.
like to a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. Like, at what point? Like I said, I think there are people who would genuinely think they're trapped in like in an opposite sex body. I think there's a case for transgenderism. Happy days. But at what age do you let them sort of explore that?
And especially when they say like a human brain isn't fully formed until they're like 25.
Yeah.
And you got kids as young as 4, 5, 6 saying,
Yeah.
like,
Like
what?
my first thought was 16. Like at 16, but then I remember what I was like at 16.
Yeah, but
no.
I mean, shit, nobody took anything I said seriously at 16.
Mm.
Like, fucking hell. I was
and-
going to do
and-
all these great things back then.
They won't let you have a drink at 16, but they'll let you inject yourself with fucking hormones.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
16.
Yeah, you can't vote it. Can't vote at 7.
It's
I mean, you can drive a
self-diagnosing
Yeah.
society.
You can drive a
Yeah.
car at 16. Well, actually, that's probably a good point. You should learn to drive a car as a male. I don't think if you're a 15-year-old boy, you transition to a girl, I don't think you should be allowed to learn to drive.
No.
No,
No, not at all.
you get Ubers everywhere.
Let's talk about this cash bill that got rejected and the slippery slope that could pose. So you brought this up to me a couple of days ago, Nev. The old cash bill that got thrown out in the Senate.
Yeah, it was just a bit,
Thank
bit
God.
Of an aside.
So a controversial law that would have banned cash payments over $10,000 and imposed 2-year jail sentences on people evading the ban has been killed in the Senate thanks to One Nation.
One Nation.
Please
Go Pauline.
explain. Good on you, Pauline.
Pauline,
on
you
your Dal.
Fucking trooper.
So what do you think about that, Nev? And what does it mean? What do you think it means?
I think it's just sort of a forerunner to more control, more control.
Mm-hmm. Big government
Big government, big data.
rubbing their balls in our faces.
Yeah. Yep. So, like you said, and we were having a bit of a discussion before we went on air about
Probably wasted
sort
all
of
the
the
good
nuances, the nuances of this. You're a tiler.
No, not anymore. Was. Concrete
Okay,
polisher now.
Concrete polisher.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
if I-
elevated my status
like-
a little bit.
back in the day, the under the table cash job was king.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
still is
Still
now.
is. Still, well, I didn't
Well,
hear
yeah,
that,
that
hear
didn't go through, so it still is.
Yeah, didn't hear, up to $9,999. The law they're proposing, and this, I think this will come back at some point. We're not the only country to do it. Apparently, I don't know what other countries there are, but apparently there are quite a few that limit how much money you can spend in cash. So I want you to do a job. It's got to be under 10 grand if I want to pay cash. Now, to me, that's. I mean, you're going about.
What if you did it in 2 transactions, though?
Good question.
I'm sure there's loopholes.
$9.5 for one and then 4.5, you know what I mean?
So you can't go to a bank and withdraw over 10 grand without notice. They've got to inform the government. You can't cash out more than 10 grand.
They're asking people what they're doing with their money a bit more too now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I had a mate that went into the bank wanted to buy a motorbike.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get his own fucking money out of the bank. And
Yeah.
they asked him what he was doing with it.
Well, yeah, I remember when
Yeah.
I went
And
and
he
got a
turned around
loan.
and he's like, what?
When I went and got a loan for a car, they said, "Oh, what are you doing with the money?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm buying a car." And they're like, "Oh, what sort of car?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know yet."
Mm.
Like, well, I'm going to pick a car. I don't know if I've got money yet. Like,
Yeah.
Who cares what fucking sort of car?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But-
But when I bought the Beamer, I pulled 30 out in cash.
The Beamer,
Yeah.
which Beamer was that?
When I had at Harvey's, silver one.
Wasn't that?
Ah, yes, I remember. You know, he's got the Jag now.
I was going to say, wasn't that a Jag?
Yeah.
No, before the Jag.
So now you can't do that. You've got to
Can't-
give him
well,
notice.
even then, they had to inform the government that I was withdrawing X amount of money, over $10,000.
fucking insane.
And it was like a 24-hour wait. I had to come back the next day. But the grilling I got over the counter by a 22-year-old bank teller,
Yeah.
the fuck are you? Like,
But that is just if this doesn't scare people, right? If banning cash, if the government throwing you in jail for making cash payments isn't enough to scare you to say, hang on a minute, maybe we've given the government a little bit too much power. What the fuck is gonna make people realise?
And like you said earlier, it's a slippery fucking slope.
Of course. Like, okay, yeah, we give into this one, we give into that soon, and where's it going to lead up?
Yeah.
Where's
And
it
that's
gonna end?
what the point I sort of made earlier is that so long as people are going to sit there and cop it, they will just keep
doing it.
grabbing and
but
grabbing
it's
and grabbing.
It's a slow creep. Like, it's a
Yeah.
really slow.
Yeah,
slow
and
creep.
it's done behind the scenes a lot
Yeah.
of the time. Like it's like you know, just finding out about this recently. Like Daniel Andrews trying to push through that bill that's going to stop people protesting. You have to put it in for a permit and get government, you know.
And that's the
what's
worst
word?
part is they try.
They have to allow you to do it.
There's no transparency. They try and backdoor everything. It's like,
And people don't realise that
Yeah.
this stuff happens. But
Unless we're in the middle of a bloody COVID crisis
And people got nothing
you
better
happen
to
be
do.
black,
exactly,
or you happen
yeah.
to be white, who pretend
As
to
long
be
as it
caring
fits
about
their narrative. And
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But people, I just don't understand. Like, but you realise that with COVID was kind of the set the precedent for this stuff over here. I think because did you notice how many places when COVID hit, because everyone was so scared of the virus and germs, they stopped cash payments. Like JB Hi-Fi would not accept cash. APCO Servo, for example, would not accept any cash. There was a lot of businesses that said no cash. The Shep Tip still only does card.
Yeah.
And people just dealt with it. Okay, no worries. We'll just use
Well,
that
see,
card.
at first it wasn't a big thing for me because I'm not a cash man. Like I usually always pay by card and things. So in the beginning, I was just sort of didn't really take any mind, didn't pay any notice because it doesn't bother me anyway. But yeah, when you really get into it, it's
I prefer cash. Always prefer
Gesh.
cash.
Gesh.
There's no cash here, mate.
Robbo.
No cash
No
here.
cash. But the bigger implication of this is forcing us into everything digital, being able to track everything.
Yeah.
Big data.
And this used to be, a couple of years ago, this was a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, right? Wasn't it? I had a mate a couple of years ago, he's probably going to be listening going, I fucking told you. He was telling me years ago that they're trying to take cash, they're trying to ban cash, they want a cashless society, they want to put fucking everything's,
And then
the government can track every cent you spend.
And what about the old people who have never trusted banks or have all the cash at home and lock up all the elderly now?
If you look at the top 3 cashless countries, so for example, Sweden is the most cashless country. So of all, so Sweden, for example, 85% of the country has access to online banking, and only 2% of the company's transactions consist of cash. So they're the number one. So then you've got China at number 2, China, and we're going to talk about China next. They've got a vast cashless market, which is mostly dominated by Tencent's WeChat Pay or Alipay, which is owned by Alibaba.
Yeah, their two biggest bloody things are like gaming companies and that Alibaba. It's like, what?
They haven't embraced credit card payments. Instead, most Chinese consumers make payments by scanning QR codes on their phones. Then the United Kingdom is number 3. So they're your 3 main. And if you look at Australia, so the Reserve Bank of Australia payments data shows that there were more than 44 million cash withdrawals. Cash withdrawals worth $10.4 billion in December 2019. Now this year, the latest available figures were September 2020. It shows this was way down to almost 33 million cash withdrawals worth about $9 billion. So 33 million from 44 million. Yeah. It's a fair drop.
And but that's because of COVID though?
Well, this is one of the things when they tried to push this law through, that they were throwing COVID every second word because of COVID. I said to you very early on in COVID, I say this whole thing is a test run.
You did say that, yeah.
Now, I don't think COVID was necessarily planned. Not tinfoil hat. COVID was
just
planned
a happy
and thrown out,
sort of thing.
But I think, disasters like this are a massive opportunity for governments to really test the waters. Just see
what they can get away with.
It's almost convenient, isn't it? How every single time the world seems to sort of be in this, almost get to a cruising state. Something happens that's got to throw a fucking spanner in the works.
It's the rush to get rid of capitalism.
Yeah. You look at 9/11 and the changes in especially American law, but flowing every Western country, everyone who was under the threat of terrorism after 9/11.
Oh, how many civil liberties they cut back. Yeah.
The laws that have changed now under the guise of national security as a result of 9/11, just shove those in. And everyone goes, yeah, fuck it, we need it.
Yeah.
Like how many terrorist attacks were there after 9/11 on American or Australian soil? We had the Link Cafe.
Yes. Yeah.
In Australia, I can't think of any.
Which was
other
complete botching.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had, I know, look, there's been a lot foiled. The feds have done a really, really bloody good job.
Yeah.
My ex-brother-in-law was a fed and he's involved in a few of those.
Yep.
They've done a very, very good job. But by and large, Australian terrorists are fucking goofballs. mate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Couldn't organise a route into fucking brothel,
Yeah.
honestly.
yeah.
Um,
Thank God.
most of them. There, like
Yeah.
I said, there are a couple that, were, if they had the run of things, they might have got away with it.
Mm.
But like with COVID now, a lot of the laws that are changing, they're trying to change, getting us conditioned to go. Well, the government says we've got to stay inside. We can't do this. We can't do that.
COVID normal.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it was
Just
That
the
was a
word,
big thing
even
they were
the
pushing, wasn't
words, the rhetoric.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
refuse to use those fucking words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
I think it is. It's conditioning. It's a slow conditioning.
From the
It is, yeah.
start was, I think a lot of people got frustrated with me because from the start of COVID, I was just like, fuck this. Like, this is the dumbest shit
Yeah.
I have ever heard.
Well, you know, if you talk about, and everyone's always on me for talking about Americans, you don't live in America. I know, I get it, right? But if you look at the way we handled the lockdown, and I was talking to Cara about this tonight over dinner. She loves our conversations. But yeah, we've just come out of our lockdown where we saw, we kind of dealt with it quietly for the most part.
Mm.
We
We-
listen to the science.
We listen to the science and we do what we're told in this country because we don't have a fucking we don't have a constitution like America's got.
Mm.
So, business owners shut their doors. We wore the mask. We stayed home. People just dealt with it. We weren't happy about it, but people dealt with it.
Mm.
A lot of people lost their businesses. A lot of people lost, a lot of money. Mental health went through the roof, but we just did what we were told by and large. In America, they're not doing that.
No.
They're trying to put lockdowns in effect now.
Yeah, and that's
So
what they're saying. People are going, I'm
They're
opening
not.
my business. Fuck you.
They're just open, and they're being. You've got
See, if they had
conservatives
done this,
that are telling people just open your business.
Yeah.
Fuck them. They
Yeah.
can't tell you what to do. It's a government overreach. The government, but a lot of that is the politicians' own fault because they're saying one thing for the people, but they're breaking their own.
And
rules.
that's a lot of the thing where it gets left up to the states where they have all these differentiating rules.
Yes.
And people are going, well, how come fucking the Costco down the road can open, but I can't open my
Yeah.
business?
Yeah. And I think that's where our lockdown in Australia is going to be very different to America's lockdown
Yeah.
because you've got a country that understands their constitution to
Well,
a
they have a
T.
constitution.
They're protected by the freedom of speech and the government's overreach and the Second Amendment and all these things where it's going to play out very differently over there than it did over
Oh,
here.
absolutely.
Yeah, like you're getting people thrown in
But
jail
we're
here
also
for
like-
Facebook posts.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it
we're
doesn't
also
happen over there.
9 months
No.
deep into this thing. If they had have gone hardcore over there early, they would have been a lot more accepting. It might not have gone well, but they would have been a lot more accepting of it then than they are a year later.
Yeah, but it's very hard to compare. Like people say, you get people saying, "Oh, look at Australia, we squashed it and we crushed the curve," and it's very hard to compare us and America.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to compare countries how they're
Apples and
dealing with it
oranges,
because you got totally different factors. You got land mass, you got populations, you got all these different things that go into it. That it's not just a blanket statement. It's like it's like the gun argument. Oh, Australia banned guns and blah blah blah. But there's a whole other argument. But it's not going to work everywhere else.
No.
And if you look at
That's the thing. There's no one size fits all for
There's not.
for it.
but I reckon there's going to be buckle up America because there's
Yeah.
going to be
It's
some
gonna be fun.
There's going to be some spot fires over
Oh,
there.
shit, yeah.
Oh boy. So talking about the cash ban, let's talk about the whole cashless society thing, and let's talk about China. What you sent me today. was
So yeah, I sent you a
unbelievable.
couple of articles that I thought
I've
that
got them on here.
the whole idea of the cash ban, just being able to track our spending, track where our money goes, and I'll get into Bitcoin because we started on Bitcoin as well, and where Bitcoin lays into all this. I sent you I think 2 articles. The first one
the
was
social
The
credit
well,
system.
the-
point system. Oh, man.
well, no, the first one was the most recent, was only 2 days old. Was the digital health passport.
Yeah.
And they've been talking about this for a little
Yeah.
bit. You can come into the country if you've got this.
This
app
is
that
China.
says-
is this China?
No, this is an Australian thing, and
Australia.
I think the UK have implemented it as
They
well.
were talking about it here, weren't they?
Yeah, but there's a company that are trying to start. They're trying to raise $2 million to get it's called, I think, On Market, $2 million to start this app where basically if you've passed all your health checks, had your vaccinations, your
Being a good little boy.
exactly,
You get a
can-
green square.
you can come into the country.
Yep.
Now that rang alarm bells with
Oh,
me because again,
yes.
that's normalising being a certain type of person, a healthy person, a genetically like the well-bred person. The first thing I thought was that movie Gattaca.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Haven't seen it.
haven't seen it.
No.
Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. All right, and it's all about this well-bred, genetically designed people who are. If you've got the right genetics, you can have a certain job.
Basically
You can
modern
go-
Nazis.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the first thing.
Pure
And
race.
again, this is the thing that we're talking, 20 years ago when we said this cash ban would have been outrageous.
Yep.
Well, 20 years from now, we're going to look back and go, well, no, that's outrageous. It's outrageous now. 20 years from now, it's going to be the norm.
Yes. Exactly.
That was the first thing. That health passport was it just rang alarm bells with me.
Oh yeah.
Now we get to the point where where genetically we're defined by genetics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now my family's got heart disease, cancer, and it's a lot of that's tied to socioeconomic, where you sit economically, like your access to healthcare and things like that. So a person like me who's got those deficiencies
Yep.
in their family, 20, 50, 100 years from now, we're going to be the lower class.
Mm.
All right, because they want to breed that shit out of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first thing that rang sort of alarm. And again, people are going to go, "Oh, you're fucking loopy." Ask your grandkids if I'm loopy.
Yeah.
know, Yeah,
Remind us.
But
And
then
then,
that's the thing
yeah.
they were saying also with that points thing. They were saying
Yeah,
it can lead
so
to
the other-
promotions with your job, and
Yeah,
if
the
you
other
do
one-
the right thing.
And I want people
We'll
to
talk about that
to-
one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's like the digital health passport was just, like I said, it rang alarm bells. But the other one I think everyone should really have a look at is China's,
Yeah.
they call it social.
I've got the
social
article
credit.
up now,
Social
yeah.
credit system.
So China has started ranking citizens with a creepy
It's not that
social.
organised.
Sorry, it's not up there. It's only on this one. They've started ranking their citizens with a creepy social credit system. So you can be punished by this credit system and you can be rewarded by this credit system. So they're setting up a vast ranking system that will monitor the behavior of its enormous population and rank them all based on their social credit. And this is mandatory.
Yeah,
By the
well,
way.
this started 2014.
14, yeah.
Not something you apply for. It's something we're doing.
But it says it was first announced in 2014, and it was due to be fully operational by 2020. But has
So
that
it's been
been
in trial-
set back from COVID a little bit or not?
they probably had it
I
up and
doubt it.
running
COVID
that
was
year.
probably
They
part of
just
it.
wanted a bit of a test run.
COVID was probably the final
Yeah.
phase.
Probably.
That's probably true too.
But what is it? An app or something, or is
No,
it?
so it's, well, I'm not sure how it works in that regard.
Because it doesn't
So
really
from
say. in the article.
2014 to 2020 was a trial period, and they basically gave each city and each province free reign, companies, corporations free reign. So the idea, in general terms, is everyone starts with 1,000 points.
Yep.
Okay. Now you mentioned Black Mirror.
It's literally Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
that
So if
episode.
anyone's seen Black Mirror, I think it was the first episode of the American series. Black Mirror was an English show for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Went quiet for a few years. Americans took it up. The first episode, season 3, the first episode of the Americans, Black Mirror. Watch the episode and then read these articles because it's scary.
Was the
So-
first one where sort of everything was recorded on there, everything
No,
they've seen
I
and
think
experienced?
I'm sure it was the first or second episode.
The episode on Black Mirror that we're talking about is called Nosedive.
Nosedive. So I won't get into the episode because what China are doing is very, very, very similar.
Very
Yeah.
similar. I think you said they probably got the idea
Yeah.
for that episode from
Just
what
2
China
years after China started this.
Yep.
So you start as a Chinese citizen. You start with 1,000 points. You earn or lose points according to
Your behaviour.
your behaviour, the way you interact, your standing as a citizen.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So you can, if you donate blood, ding, 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 you get a star. You get a point.
A couple of points.
A third of
couple
a
points.
third of a point, probably.
Third of a point.
They wouldn't have rewarded you that
happy
well.
days. You volunteer at a soup kitchen, ding, 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 you get points. Okay. You get a fine for parking illegally and don't pay it on time. Oh, you lose a
Mhm.
point. You lose a point. And this goes on every interaction you have financially, socially, everything. Okay. Now,
The punishments.
the punishments are wide ranging.
So,
So
do,
the
do you have to
punishment-
lose all 1,000 points before you get a
Nah,
punishment? Or is it...
I don't know.
No. This is
No.
like a credit rating. This is
A credit
It's
rating,
literally
yes.
called a social credit rating.
Right.
Social credit.
Social credits.
Social credit system. So, what a good credit rating over here is 800. Right. Bad credit rating 300. You won't get a loan. You won't get, or if you do get a loan, you're going to get it from fucking one of those massive car lots in Melbourne. That charge you 35%
Really,
interest,
really, yeah.
Come in, we loan you money.
Yeah, Flexi Rent might look at you. So same thing in China. Now, if you start with 1,000 points, but if you have a shit year, you're down to 850,
Oh, boy.
and you're up for a promotion at work, you're not getting that fucking promotion.
Yes. So I'm gonna go through a couple of the punishments. You can be banned from flying or getting on the train, right?
23 million, I think it was.
They'd already done.
17.5 million flights, 5.5 million high-speed train tickets were rejected because of this social rating.
Jesus
score.
Christ.
So you've not paid fucking a car fine. Sorry, mate. You get off the train.
Yeah.
You're not getting a train ticket because
And then not to mention
that is the most. This is the most totalitarian communist
Yeah.
bullshit ever.
and like over there they got
This is
got cameras
so-
on every trash
And that
can,
was
so
street
China.
corner,
That was so
every-
China.
that was 23 million in 2018. 1 year.
Wow.
2 years before the trial ends.
So a couple of
What
the
else was there?
punishments are banning you from flying or getting on the train, throttling your internet speeds,
That's a big one.
yeah, banning you or your kids from the best schools, stopping you getting the best jobs, so fucking with your promotions, like you said, keeping you out of like the best hotels, so you got to slum it.
Yeah.
And this is all this is superficial shit. But they
being
can,
publicly named as a
shamed.
bad citizen, yeah.
Yep. So using public screens, so
And
you can
that's
go down to
because of
Fed
their
Square and
social media that the government controls and everything. They're saying
Yeah.
that because they got Tencent is one of the companies behind it,
Tencent,
which
Alibaba,
is
yeah.
is a
But
gaming
all these
company.
countries, so Tencent, Alibaba.
they slander you on social media.
If you're a seller on Alibaba and you get a bad review,
Yeah.
you lose stars.
Yeah.
But tell the people how you get how you get rewarded. What's one of the things to do to get rewarded?
To get reward, well, one's to praise the state.
Praise the
Oh,
state.
that's right. Yeah, if you praise the government,
Good
on
old
social media.
communism.
Yeah, happy to. Well, fuck Dan Andrews in his legislation.
Unbelievable.
We don't need to ban protest. We just need to reward praising the state.
Yeah.
The one
Everyone would just be going around going, "Oh, China's so good. The state.
Oh.
I love the state."
yeah. Fuck
I know.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
Hong Kong, you die. You
Yeah.
die.
Chinese government, good for you.
Good for everyone. How you not see this?
I'm so free.
The link I sent you today. So it's called the game of life in China. You gain points by donating blood or money, engaging in charity work, praising the government on social media, and helping the poor. The rewards for this include fast-tracking your work promotion, priority status for children's school admissions, easier access to bank loans and consumer credit, and tax breaks.
Imagine how many people are just going to flock to their social media and be like, I love China.
Yeah.
Give me
But
points.
say this is the other.
But it has
thing.
to
This is
cap,
how-
surely.
I know
how
I'm
it
going to
affects
lose 10 points. I'll
No,
just go on there
this
and
is how it
post
affects
their
us
shit.
because this applies to corporations as well.
Yes. Yes.
So an Australian business who they say is unethical, not praising China's trade relations, which
Yeah.
we are really horrible for at the moment.
yeah.
They're not going to get any business in China.
No.
But I'll just go through the negatives. So citizens lose points by not visiting one's aging parents regularly.
Wow. Fair enough, too.
So, well,
And, yeah,
fair enough.
that's a cultural thing.
Yes,
that's
it
like
is.
the Chinese and the aged.
Very cultural.
Don't take your shoes off at the door, lose points.
Cheating online games.
Ooh, that's another big one. I agree with that
all those
too.
codes
Oh, you know
using-
what? I'm all for that. Fuck cheaters.
Well, the ironic thing is all these modded controllers come out of China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. They invent all the cheats.
Insincere apologies for crimes committed.
Mm.
Guilty.
And see, who determines that? Who determines whether you're sincere in your apology?
Ah, they could just tell by you.
Well, I can tell you from experience, my ass was doing this. I was pretty sincere. Spreading rumours on the internet. So punishments include exclusion from booking flights or train tickets, ineligibility for certain jobs, public shaming on TV and social media. So can you imagine
Shame.
being in Fed Square?
Shame. Like Game of Thrones. Shame.
You're on a Tinder date, rocking down Fed Square, and you see your head on TV going, this cunt hasn't paid his parking fine.
Oh boy, how awkward would that be?
Yes,
That's the ultimate cock block.
This unemployed piece of shit. You're like, oh, fuck
my
no,
brother.
Joe.
Yep. And restricted access to public services. Now that's one of the big things, right?
Yeah,
But
public
I was talking about health and everything before.
Yep.
Like people with my genetic disposition would be a lower class. If you're excluded from health services, mental health services, for these, it's to be excluded from those kinds of things because you're not a model citizen.
You're not woke enough.
Scary, scary.
That's crazy.
What was the other? There was another one down here. So this is 2018. 1,400 dog owners have been fined, lost points, or had their dog confiscated and probably eaten due to behaviours like not cleaning up after their dog or walking their pet off the leash.
Wow, that is
that's not
fucking
even that's not even
insane,
the one
though.
that government's always watching. No.
We are. That's what I mean. Like that's why I'm all for limited government. Because the more power you give the government, it's not in our best interest at all.
Yeah.
And people need to look into it a little bit. And this shit is real.
Yeah.
If you said this 10 years ago,
mate,
you'd think it was a fucking movie
people
script,
they'd
right?
never want to hear another word you said. They'd be like, nah, he's
You'd be
crazy.
laughed at.
Yeah.
But now this stuff is happening everywhere, and it's being ushered in to the Western society as well. We were talking about how we got onto China today was because of what Tucker Carlson was saying on.
Yeah, how crazy is that the Chinese government's influencing?
Well, the professor, the Chinese professor they put on their social media that was pulled down pretty quickly has said that, you know, they're pretty high up in American power. And when Trump came along, it made it tough for them to get all these trade deals and all these favourable outcomes because Trump was blocking a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But Chinese aren't the only ones that have infiltrated America in
absolutely
high
not,
places.
but
Like, you look at there's books on that I've read on the Muslim Brotherhood that have infiltrated the.
Fuck you, read.
No, I don't read that much. I don't read that much. He reads way more than I do.
I don't think I've heard a show go by where you haven't said, "Oh, have you read?"
I've actually got hope for society for arguing about who reads the most.
Yeah.
I lose that battle.
Neville has got me.
Sorry,
covered.
the other one I wanted to mention was there were, like I said, the Chinese have let each province and each corporation have their own way, basically set their own rules with things, and at the end of the trial they'll sort of cherry pick the best.
Who was the most
and
totalitarian?
Yeah.
Yeah, and standardise the whole thing.
Yep.
So the one that got me today was one city has instigated a plan where if you haven't paid your, I think it was, they said rent. If you haven't paid your rent on time, they can change the ringtone on your phone, have it ring at any time. And sorry, it wasn't your phone. It was like, me and Damo having a beer. Your phone's going to ring with an unusual ringtone.
Yeah.
You're going to get a message saying the person you're with isn't doing his duties as a citizen. Please report him immediately and let others know.
Take him out the back and whip him.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Layers there. They like, you haven't signed up for this, but they've got control of your phone.
Yeah, that's insane.
People wonder why we should be worried about, we click on the check the box on Facebook saying, oh, Facebook share your data. Now this whole Cambridge Analytica thing,
Mm-hmm.
big data. Like it's just my fucking, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
Data
None of this is nothing.
No,
Because
data
it's
is gold. It is the absolute most valuable commodity on the planet at the moment.
And that's the thing, that people are playing catch up now, because like you said, a lot of this stuff has been said before, but you were crazy to speak about it now.
Yes.
And now a lot of people are playing catch up, going, fucking shit.
And people are going, oh, well, yeah, this is China. They're a communist. It's never going to happen. Well,
Yeah, it's over there. It won't happen
America's
here.
fucked.
Yeah, and we've sold half our country to China.
China are being very aggressive, and as I said, over the last 100 years, they've got this plan in place. They're a very patient culture. They know what they're doing. Not just that, corporations are looking. They're going to be looking at this social credit system and going, well, fuck, if it makes money,
Yeah.
why shouldn't we introduce something like
Yeah.
that? And again, it won't be as instant. China done. Fuck it, 2014. We're just going to you've got 1,000.
And that's the
points.
thing, China already
these
well
points for?
conditioned to
China.
go when the government says this is what's happening,
Exactly.
to not say
Yeah.
shit.
Oh,
Yep.
1,000 points, yeah, happy days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Black Mirror episode was all about social media and side of things and our obsession with likes and what we'll do. The Uber driver with the 5 stars.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't give him 4 stars. He's got 5. Like, you're going to ruin his career.
Yeah.
Our obsession with getting these likes and these stars. Now, we introduce a system like this where we're all of a sudden just obsessed with what our social credit score is.
Yep.
It's going to take over our lives.
Oh, 100%. And I think we're well over halfway there now.
Yeah. And it is going to give the government exactly what they want.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, these corporations are just looking at this going, well, fuck.
It's going to be funny, though, especially with the states when they, Trump's out if they get their way and all that sort of shit. It's going to be scary yet funny just to watch the faces of the Democrats when they go, holy fuck, he was not the monster we made him out to be.
Well, it all depends on the Georgia runoffs, the
Yeah.
Senate. If the Democrats can take the Senate, then shit's going to get scary.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of Democrats who, I don't know if it's a term in the US, but in Australian terms, who cross the floor.
Potentially, yeah.
Who
Yeah.
go, you know what? Fuck it.
But
Jump ship.
I mean, it's going to be a select few out of.
But with how tight it is, it doesn't need to be more than a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about one seat, one vote. It's only going to take one or two of them to go, you know what, fuck it. Fuck the squad.
Mm.
So it might not be as bad as people think.
Almost
It's
going to be like one of
But
those
you
things
really,
that's gonna get
really,
worse before
really
it gets
want
better.
them to
I
hold
mean,
the
AOC is
Senate.
going to
Oh,
open
yeah.
a dossier anyone who dares cross the floor.
Yeah, well, they've already got a
The
Trump accountability project going on. You know that
Uh-huh.
anybody that supported Trump on the Republican side,
Oh,
they're on
that's
they're on a hit list.
Yeah,
for
oh,
Democrats.
that
Classic
absolutely
McCarthyism.
doesn't
It's
surprise me.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. Like I said, the last 4 years. So 2016, when I started really paying attention to American culture, American politics, our culture, you just see how fucking crazy it's getting.
Yeah.
Like it's always been crazy, but it was under wraps.
Oh man, 100%. You flipped my like. I hated Trump.
Why did you hate him? Why?
Because
Let's
I
talk about that.
I couldn't separate the person from the politician.
Yeah,
is
so
what
an
my problem
emotive
was.
response.
And I hated the bloke, so he can't be any good.
Well, you hated the way he was like, and I'm the greatest of our time.
That's what I
and,
liked about him. I
Sometimes I
liked-
put my hands out here, and then sometimes I put them in the
Sometimes
middle.
out here, and I said, "Can we do that?" And they said, "You can never do that, Donna." And I said, "Well, you know what? It's a
We're
great.
gonna
That's
do it."
another record, by the way."
Here, look at my graph. I've got a chart.
No, but so you hated his guts.
Hated the bloke, and so I thought he can't be any good. It cannot be any good because the bloke he is a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I actually started to look at the things he's doing,
Props
and
for
has
doing that,
done-
by the way, because a lot of people
But it
don't
was
want
you.
to do that.
It was you. It was you in the
was
conversations
me.
we had on Facebook.
Yeah.
That were the catalyst for me actually going, well, hang on. Like, you're a pretty level-headed guy, and I've known you for a while, and it's like, we can't be making... Like, surely he's not making this shit up.
Yeah.
And I actually looked into it, and you look at the things that he's doing and has done,
Yep.
and if you can separate the politician from the bloke, he's done good. He's done a lot of good.
He's a business. He's running the country like a business.
And it's working.
You've only
Is
got
it?
to look, and I've said this a million times. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point. You've only got to look at his policies and what he's achieved in the White House in 4 years under, like, you know, with from the economy to the jobs to the foreign policy,
Yeah.
like
To the lack of war.
no wars under Trump. You know what I mean?
And they
And
could
yet
have
the
been.
economy's doing well.
But
Like,
they could have
Even
been
now, they got
two
this-
wars. But he, like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? They well truly could have been.
Absolutely.
And
You've-
he's actively avoided it.
But and the way he ripped the cover off the radicals and the media and
Yeah.
showed them for who they were.
That's-
And that's-
unbelievable.
That's probably
his
the biggest
legacy.
blessing in disguise
Yep.
about that.
And-
Is the more people now know the media are fucking liars.
and people are going to say, like, nobody's going to cop more shit if he loses. Like when it's officially announced,
Yeah.
if he loses, then I will. But you know what? He has served his. If he
Yeah.
doesn't get in now, he has served his purpose.
Yep.
This extremely important culture war that he is engaged,
Mm.
war on the media, showing the people what it really is the biggest achievement he's
Oh,
done.
absolutely. And
It's the
probably,
biggest gift to anybody.
like Nev said, that'll be his. If that is his legacy, then what a fucking legacy! Like
Yeah.
that is gonna help so much more than it's gonna hurt
He has
anyone.
changed the dynamics of American politics forever.
And the media couldn't handle it. Then they showed their hand by
They-
going, well,
They took everything he threw at them, hook, line, and sinker.
yeah,
And now they've got no credibility.
Yep.
They've completely shifted from what little journalistic integrity they had to political activists and cupbearers for the left. The pollsters are the same. Like they've blown it so badly this year with the numbers and
yeah.
the polls.
And they did it in 2016 too.
Yeah, they did it, but worse this time.
Yeah.
So now that they've got no credibility,
Yeah.
and people are waking up on, people are, and I hate that you're waking up,
Yeah.
but people are seeing it for what it is.
But that's the thing, and I'm one of them because
Yeah.
you'd listen to Trump in his press conferences going, "No, it's fake news." You know,
You're a fake news.
yeah, and I'll be going, "What a fucking child!"
Yeah.
Like, but he was right.
Yes, he was right.
Yeah.
And it was and people jumped all over him for the Twitter wars he would have.
Yeah.
But it was all fucking necessary because he had to get his word out there.
Yeah.
Because the media
That
were
couldn't
not.
be. Yeah,
They were twisting everything he said. And, win, lose, or draw in this election, you know, it's
He's changed the game.
he's
100%.
done he's served his purpose, and he's dealt the death blow to the media. They have committed suicide
Yeah.
in the 4 years we have seen under Trump.
I reckon they'll find a way.
Oh, and there's
next
always
4
going to
years,
be the
it's
diehards
gonna
that are
be
going to go,
very,
no,
very interesting now that they haven't
you know,
got
MSNBC is right.
Trump to rely on.
Yeah, what are they going to talk
For
about?
better or worse, they've got.
They needed Trump.
What have they got?
Yeah, that's the thing too. They needed him to push their
They're
agendas.
praying that him or Ivanka that fucking runs.
Melania.
Oh, yeah.
Run for fucking runs in 24.
Yeah, they needed Trump.
Yeah.
They'll have Kanye, but Kanye will get up there.
But they are going to have such like they're like junkies now. They're
Yeah.
going to have Trump withdrawals when he's gone.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
They needed Trump.
Yep.
The media
Because
does.
he sells their stories.
Yeah,
Like people see a
that's
Trump
right.
headline, they stop and go, "What's he done now?"
They feed. He feeds their hate.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
The downside is people see that as the news. We're watching the news.
Yep.
It's news. It's not the news. It's not the only fucking news out there.
That's right. And that's why you've gotten.
That's the thing. You can watch 10 different news channels and get 10 different stories about the same thing.
But it's given birth to, like, it's given way to these more, the other side is fighting back now. Like, conservative content is huge right now. Look at Crowder. We've spoken about him before. He got more views on his election stream than CNN did. He had 8 or 9 million views, live views.
Well, see, like him and Shapiro and that.
Daily Wire.
I couldn't tell you who they were. Like going back 6 months, 8 months. I couldn't
Dan
tell you.
Bongino.
Yeah, he's the mate. He's the Mac.
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, he was he was Secret
Secret
Service
Service.
under Obama.
Yeah.
And he's written a book now called
Follow the money.
Follow the Money. Yeah, that
That's-
one. Yeah, Spygate. Yeah.
Look at that. I know books. I
You
I
do.
know a book.
So
Just kidding. Angus Roberts going to
yeah,
order that.
that's gonna be. I've got to read that one too. But
Order it online, no cash.
you look at
After payment.
you look
Smash
at
it. $3
You have to buy a hard copy, no paperback.
if anything, it is
Yeah.
creating more options for you to get your sources from.
Yeah.
You've got more out there now. It's not just the mainstream
And then
legacy
it's-
media.
And then the whole Facebook and Twitter thing as well.
Oh, where does it stop?
Like, and it's the worst part about it is
like 4 books.
you watch
Yeah.
the Senate hearings or wherever where Zuckerberg and
Yeah.
that knobhead from Twitter had to go and think they couldn't give 2 fucks. Like
Yeah.
they were sitting there going, "Yep, pretty much we've done the wrong thing, but who cares?" Like,
Yeah.
and it's just like you fucking pieces of shit. Like,
But you got to look at things like look at the woke staffers over at Spotify that are jumping all over Joe Rogan every chance they get now.
yeah,
When they
they
don't.
want to edit his podcasts and
Yeah,
say
they
who
don't
he has
want-
on, who he doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like, we were talking about the Gavin McGuinness episode just disappearing and all these kind of things happening.
See, and that's the thing, and that's why I worry about Joe Rogan sometimes because he says all the right things and
He's a big fence sitter though.
and all that. But then, things like that happen, like the
Like
episode
Trump is
disappears and
populist.
everything, and he
Yeah,
doesn't say
yeah, he
anything
is.
about it. Like, because I always thought he'd be sitting there going, Spotify, I'm doing what I'm doing. Fuck you guys.
I think that's the strength of him.
But
too,
if
though.
things starts happening and you go, hang on, why isn't he saying anything about
He's
it?
a really
But
good
he
fence
he
sitter.
may not say anything about it, but he lets his guests say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, I know, but if things
He's a good
disappear and-
platform.
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
I think Donald Trump will do Joe Rogan.
Yeah, yep.
I think that's definitely going to
Yep.
happen. If he doesn't get in, I think he's definitely going to do
And that's
Joe
the
Rogan.
best part about Joe Rogan is that regardless of his stance on the issue, he'll let you say your piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like regardless whether he agrees with you or not.
That's why they put him in the intellectual dark web.
Man, imagine if he had a hosted the debate. Imagine that.
Oh, would have been.
That would have
yeah,
been
but
the
it would have been.
greatest.
That would never have happened because
No.
it would have been disastrous for Joe Biden.
Oh,
because every
absolutely.
time he lied, which was every time he opened his mouth,
Yeah.
Joe would have gone, "Hang on a minute, pull that up, Jamie."
Yeah.
Is that right?
And Jamie would have gone, "Oh, my computer's out."
Yeah, well, that's right. He would have had to get
Internet's
somebody else to search up because
Yeah.
Jamie's a little leftist cuck with Trump derangement syndrome. But you look at, I definitely think he will do Joe Rogan.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, 100%. 100%. Because he was like one of the first people to when they said about Joe
Yeah.
Rogan hosting the debate, Trump's like, let's
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
let's
he's
do
been-
it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I love when the media ask questions to Donald Trump, like remember the QAnon stuff, and the media's
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
I don't know much about
what do you
them.
think about QAnon?" He goes, "I don't know about QAnon, but I know they like me very much. I know they like me."
I know they hate child prostitution.
Yeah,
I think they're very much against it. He said.
yeah, but
They're very much against pedophilia.
That's the one.
I
Yeah.
think we can all be against pedophilia.
and that's not a bad thing. That's a pretty good thing, right? I think we can all agree that's
can
a
all
good
agree
thing.
that-
And they like me, right? They like me very much. I think that's so funny. If anybody that likes Trump, he likes you.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. Like if you like him, he loves you. It's a pisser.
Yeah, and then if they don't, he's, I don't know much about him. I don't know that
I know
guy.
they like me very much. But
But you can see what we're doing in Georgia.
But yeah, interesting times ahead. You know, the old Kraken. What do you think? The old Kraken's starting to look a bit more like a shriveled up calamari on the barbecue. Nev, do you think?
Yeah, a little bit. I know you and fucking Shane have got their hopes pinned on the Supreme Court.
No, I'm in the camp where I think I look at it rationally, and I listen to guys like Ben Shapiro and that who don't think there's much to it. Tucker Carlson's the same. He's called out Sidney Powell and said, you know, where's the evidence? What's going on with it? I don't think it's going to be like, we know there's fraud. Like, look, did you watch Crowder's show the other day where they were pulling the ballots under the suitcases under? There's 100%.
Angry was he? It was
That's the thing
brilliant.
that annoys me.
There's been a shitload of fraud.
There's 100% concrete proof
Yes.
that there has been fraud. Even if it's minor, that should be enough to say, "Hang on, we got to look at this." But
There's
like
enough
Pennsylvania
to
threw it out.
investigate. Yeah.
There is so much fraud going on, but the thing is, yeah, we know there's fraud, but that's not going to swing the election. They need to be able to prove there's enough fraud that has swung the election, and
But
I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
I don't think so either.
It's not even that they need to prove it. They need a judge that's willing to fucking put his balls on the line and say, okay, we're going to fucking look at it.
And that's the problem
and it
with
should be
America too, is
investigated.
that with all the corruption and everything, you can't know if the judge has been legit or whether he's bought it.
No.
Yeah,
Like, it's unreal.
there needs to be, and it's fair, man. If anybody fucking has a look at the footage, it's clear as day.
Yeah.
There's fraud there.
Not to
There's
mention
the
the
104
dead
pages of
people that have voted.
affidavits.
I'm here to work.
Yeah, I'm here to burp. I'm here to burp. That one cracked me up.
There's like hundreds of people, dead people that have voted.
Yeah.
Like, that's in itself. Is
Yeah.
Yeah, but
just
that
ridiculous.
happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere.
every
But
election.
the stuff we're telling everybody to go home,
Yeah, and then we're going to stop counting.
telling everybody to go home, and then pulling all these massive
Four
suitcases
suitcases.
of
and
fucking
then going,
ballots
and
out.
then it's been debunked. It's been, like I said, it's been debunked by someone who's not under oath, who hasn't signed a sworn fucking
Yeah, and
affidavit,
she said
who
that.
isn't facing jail
Yep.
for saying that it's been debunked. It's easy to say it's been debunked, but what about
It
the
ain't been
$300
debunked.
bucks? No, what about what was it, 243 sworn affidavits?
Yeah,
So I think that was Michigan, 243.
Michigan.
So
They're all under oath.
Yeah. Whereas, you know,
They go, affidavits.
Yeah,
and then you get people, affidavits aren't evidence.
yeah, the janitor
What?
at fucking oh no, it's been done. No, we didn't tell him to go home. Everyone left, but we didn't tell him.
But then even the media that was there going,
Oh, the media
we
runs
never
cover
got
for
asked to leave. It's like, but how
So
come
why did you
then-
leave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why then
if you
in
didn't
your-
get asked to leave, why did you leave?
Yeah.
And why
So
in your
somebody's lying.
Yeah.
And in their statement though, they said we were asked to leave.
Yeah.
And then the next day they're going, no, we weren't asked to leave. Like, we weren't told to leave. We left because they said we're going to stop
You
counting.
just stopped counting, which they didn't do.
No, which they didn't do.
No, they said there was a burst water pipe.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But that wasn't true either.
Yeah, well, we may have reported that, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
We were told that. Well, who told you that?
Someone left the tap on.
Oh, no one told us that.
Then they changed their story to that it was a toilet valve or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Oh,
But
come
there
on.
is 100% concrete evidence of voter fraud and of dodgy shit going on. But the battle is trying to prove it.
and
At the
get,
Supreme
so the
Court.
battle's getting a platform to be able to try to prove it.
Yeah. Because that's the
they've
thing. A
got
lot
the-
of the time when Giuliani and they get on TV, people just write it straight off, going, "Oh, here we go. What's he gonna?"
That's
gonna
right.
say now?
Yeah, because the media has such a firm grip on everybody, or has had a firm grip on everybody.
And it's
Yeah.
crazy that they keep spewing it, like the media going, "Oh, this voter fraud bullshit, like nonsense," and it's
Yeah.
all lies. But there's concrete, like it may not be on the scale they require.
And then you get our media over here. Our
Yeah.
media parrots what CNN and
Yeah, well,
MSNBC.
you look at every
they
mainstream
keep-
media headline and Trump and
No
the word
proof.
unfounded.
Yeah,
is in-
unfounded.
They keep
He's in
saying that
every
False
headline.
claims.
keep
Yeah,
saying that
it's
it's
in
lies.
every
It's
headline.
like, but if there's concrete
Well, it's
proof
not unfounded.
No.
that even it might not be on the scale you want, but
It's just-
concrete proof
Yep.
that you can't say it's not true.
At this point, it's just complete media malfeasance, and I'm loving the rise of these alternative, the other side's media rising up, because people need to be able to get different sources from different things, because otherwise you just believe what the mainstream media tells you, and you're never going to learn anything.
And see, that's the thing with also the
That's my
Facebook
point.
thing. It almost come to a point where you couldn't because they were censoring that as well. It's like,
Yep.
how do you win?
That's my point with the term the. Oh, I watch the news. What do you watch? You watch Channel 9 News with Peter fucking Hitchener. That's
Yeah.
one take on it.
And
Yeah.
they get and
then
they
you
might
don't
get
know
their
who they're
other
owned
The
by.
news.
they might get their
infers
other
that-
articles off
Yeah.
echo chambers on Twitter or
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah.
Well,
You
then
know,
you
to
got the
say you
whole
watch
how,
the news infers that you're getting all of the news. You're not getting all of the
how
news.
bloody K-Rudd's going after Murdoch Media because they own 75%.
And for anyone that's going to jump on, anyone that's going to jump on me and say, "Oh, you know, you're the same. You only get right wing." Every article I've cited tonight has been New York Times, Vox, ABC, Wikipedia. You know, what else we got? Business Insider. Like I get it from anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do.
And I'm a news junkie. Like I watch Channel 9 news and local news religiously every night. I'm a news junkie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just habit. 6 o'clock, put the news on.
I don't think I've watched mainstream media news.
No,
I couldn't even tell you the last time.
I still watch it, but like in the last 6 or 12 months, I'm watching it for as much for what I'm not seeing as what I'm seeing.
And it's funny when you realise how biased they are when you watch, regardless, like some news program.
Yeah, you do.
You can see it coming out of their mouth.
Yeah,
like
they're just talking
politically
heads.
where they stand.
And they don't believe their own bullshit.
But before all this, I could never see that. I'd hear it
that's
and go, well, like I said, I used to think the media can't lie to you.
And that's the problem. And that's the problem. And people say to me, you know, why do you care? Why do you bother? You can't change people's minds. Well, I can. I have.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I'm not trying to change your mind. I just want people to form their own opinion.
But that's the thing, and that's where I wasn't doing that. You know,
Yeah,
I was going, Trump's this bad
form
person.
your own opinion. You form your own opinion. But if your opinion's based on fucking ABC News, channel, like
that's right.
That's the thing, though.
I'm sorry, but I hate to say it, but your fucking opinion's invalid.
Yeah.
Because it's not informed.
No.
I hated Trump the person, but I never had a reason. I never watched The Apprentice. I never seen nothing about him. I knew who he was. Never seen. I had no reason to not like the bloke.
Yeah.
But nobody else liked the bloke.
Yeah, well, that's
So
right.
you know what I mean?
The mainstream opinion of him wasn't favourable.
If someone had said to me, "Why do you hate Trump?" I'd go, "Because he's a cockhead." Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I
and
didn't have a reason.
they're the arguments I have at the family barbecues, and they're the ones that I get in trouble all the time. Whenever we go to Kara's friends' barbecues or whatever, I always get sucked into these arguments, and it's always what I hear. It's like, okay, what policies don't you like? What do you disagree with about the Republican Party? They don't know. They don't.
No,
It's just because he's an asshole. It's a referendum on his personality.
Yeah.
It's because he says fucking brash things and he's.
That's 'cause
to
they
a
can't
degree,
separate the
fair
party
enough.
from
get
the
it.
politician.
Mexicans fucking rapists.
But
Yeah.
that's
And I only
again
know
that was
4
out of
Mexican
context.
rapists.
Yeah.
That was again out of context. But it's the thing. It's I don't blame the people. To a point I do.
Yeah.
But it's the media and it's the bullshit propaganda we're being fed.
Yeah. And I mean, the responsibility's got to fall on the people. Like, you can't just watch a 20-second clip and go, "That's what he said."
Yeah.
You have to watch it in
But
its
it-
full
but
context.
There's
If
been
you
a
take-
lot of that.
I know.
That's how they've gotten away with
But
it.
if you want to take I'm just going to take one of the most blatant lies that the media pushed for fucking years and got away with it because people just refused to fucking check it out. The thing where they would blame Trump for putting the kids in cages.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, Obama built the
I was
fucking
gonna say, they've been
cages.
doing that for years.
It was built by Obama. He threw them in the cages. The photos they were using to blame Trump were from 2015 under Obama.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, I want to fucking shake people.
And the whole rhetoric about Trump being a racist and everything, but everybody just ignores the fact that Biden says, "You're not black if you don't vote for me." It's going to create a racial jungle, people. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm going to put y'all back in chains.
he says so much racist shit, but it gets ignored.
It is insane. But people, just do your fucking research. Just grab things from different. Check out a right wing
And
website.
I don't like telling people that either. Like, because that's the one thing I hate about, like, because, you know, there's like conspiracy theories and all that, and then it gets ruined by
the word research.
The 1% of people that they actually put on TV that are these fucking batshit crazy people jumping around going, "The sky's falling."
Like that dude on Alien fucking cultures.
And then whenever you-
Yeah,
Whenever you call someone on it,
ancient aliens.
That's
whenever
the
you
one.
call someone on it, the first thing they say is, "Hey, do a bit of research." It's like, hang on, you fucking know about it. Why don't you tell me?
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't tell you. It's too much. Do a bit of research.
But if
Mate.
people want to have a laugh and want to learn in an easy way, if you want to get into the culture wars and get into politics, look up Stephen Crowder. He's got YouTube video. He's fucking hilarious and he's spot on.
Dan Bongino,
All
Ben
those guys are
Shapiro,
good. Yeah.
And they are to a point right wing, but they don't dismiss things just because they're left wing. Like, if something's true and it panders to the left,
Ben
they're not
Shapiro's
gonna
the
hide it.
first one to call out Trump when he
Yeah.
doesn't like something.
Yep. But he's had that massive
Megyn
stance.
Kelly.
Megyn Kelly, she's so in the center, like she is so balanced and intelligent.
Yeah.
Megyn Kelly is, she's probably if you want to start somewhere, start with Megyn Kelly.
Yeah. And
she's really,
Ben
really good.
Shapiro made the phrase "popular facts don't care about your feelings." Like,
Yeah,
'cause it's
that's
just
right.
what
Yeah.
they are.
But the whole right wing, the whole word right wing, the whole term right wing has been, again, skewed by the media. Right, people think right wing, they go, okay, white nationalists. They think, okay, racists, bigots. But right wing, it's not that at all.
No.
If you like, look at what they did.
Or that political compass test
Yeah.
that I did.
Did you print it out and frame it?
No, I've printed it out, but I haven't got it up on the wall yet. So who you did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane did that. Jimmy's too scared to do it.
I will do it. I haven't done it yet.
He'll do it 6 times till he gets it right.
anyone-
Look at me, guys.
That's right. Yeah. Anyone who has asked me where I stand, I've always said I'm a little bit right of centre.
You're a libertarian, a classic libertarian.
I haven't even bothered with that axis. I've always said I'm a little bit right of centre. I did a political compass test, which is like a questionnaire, tells you where you lean economically and socially. Tiny little bit right of centre, and as you say, libertarian. Damo, fucking leftist.
Mate,
Yeah, you
mate,
lefty piece
seriously, like, let's just care about things more.
But the right wing thing, at least on this test, the right thing was purely economical. Right, left, right versus left was purely
it has to be
economical.
one or the other. Like, why can't I differ depending on what topic we're talking about?
Well, I think all of us were very marginal.
Yeah.
We're closer to centre than we were extreme.
Yeah.
shit.
And I've got a feeling you're going to go in completely biased and end up sort of General Pinochet far right.
Yeah.
I think because you're going to go in with your eyes open and go, that sounds
trying
like,
to trick
a
me.
leftist
They've
question.
worded that question. Yeah.
I strongly disagree.
Socialist bastards.
This is a woke question.
So I think it's kind of fucked for you. But
I still need to try and answer
the whole
yeah.
right wing, left wing thing. I think it's kind of been hijacked.
Yeah.
It has, yeah, 100% has.
Yeah.
It's the same as Labor and Liberal here, though, because it's like if the ultimate objective was the betterment of the country, who gives a fuck where you sit? Like, they should be working as one unit.
I've always voted Labor because, like most people, my parents voted.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Like, my parents voted
Yeah.
Liberal, my parents voted Labor. I've always voted Labor.
Yep.
It's probably only the last maybe 3 elections where I've actually gone, fuck it, I'm going to vote on policy. Well, probably the last 2. Probably one of those I've probably voted. I've said I'm going to vote on policy and I've voted personality.
I
Yeah.
will admit I've
I
never.
go, oh no,
ever
he
voted-
seems like a decent bloke. Johnny Howard, fucking half pitch bowling.
Oh, God.
Look at Johnny go.
I've never voted knowing what I'm doing. Like, I've always just listed the numbers, whatever to whatever. And
No,
just
the
chucked it in the
That's
thing.
why we shouldn't be compelled to vote.
Oh,
The last 2 have been
absolutely. I
protest
hate
votes.
that.
From you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
protest votes.
Do you get to vote in jail?
No, in America you don't. I don't know about here.
Yeah.
You do.
Oh no, I don't think. No, you don't. No, I don't think you do.
No.
No.
Obviously,
I know.
wasn't an
Yeah, I know
election
in
on when you
America.
were in.
Yeah. I know in
No,
America
I
you don't.
no, I don't think you. Oh fuck! I can't. I've got a feeling something come up about it. You have to be registered at the very least.
Yeah.
I
okay.
don't think you get a vote.
Yeah. Right.
I think you forgo your rights when
Yeah.
you've done.
Yep.
Been a naughty boy.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's we got some comments in here, eh? I didn't bring them up tonight because I've changed our subscription on Switcher. So yeah, thanks for commenting along, guys. I've been following it a little bit, been flicking a few likes on there.
Yeah, I was going to try and keep track of it, but then I was just like, fuck it. I just got over it.
Well, it's been a bit quiet with you on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, you're a number
I'm not
one.
there filling it with bullshit.
Shane McDowell. Will Elliot Page get Man of the Year for 2020 or 2021?
Because it's been done. Caitlyn Jenner already done it.
Yeah,
so
but
they don't
not
need to
Man
do
of
it
the
again.
Year. They'll bring it back.
Right, yeah, true. The
They
other
might-
side of the coin.
They might bring it back now.
That's true.
I call him he.
How dare you?
Probably rejected anyway. Like
Yeah. I've always been a man.
well, would he still class himself as a man?
But then see,
Like, there's got to be some like 75%. No, I'm trans.
and he couldn't, he couldn't just go, okay, my pronouns will be he and him, because that would be too. That would be
Who
too.
was it? Was it Gad Sad who's he and whore?
Gadsard, he's the Lord.
He's
'cause that'd be too
Gadfather.
mainstream.
What
So
is
he's
it?
got
He
he
and-
they.
he and whore.
He and whore.
He whore.
Yeah. He's
You
funny.
redneck fucks.
All right, guys, we should get out of here because Neville, you've got about 15 minutes to get home.
Oh shit.
So thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, thanks for following along. And
Any idea what's on next week, or we just play it
well,
by ear?
it's a 24-hour news cycle.
Shane's pretty sure that we're going to be celebrating a Trump presidency.
I think Shane wants to come back on for round 2. I think he does. He's been hitting me up.
So
So,
what conspiracies?
well, I don't know. Just more Trump,
he's,
and
he's adamant that Trump's going to be.
he's put a lot of money
Crap.
down. on
Dude,
Trump.
it is
a
the-
lot of money down.
I'd say the best thing I've seen from 2020 was his bet slips.
Yeah.
I mean, he says it was the engagement. Congratulations. Fair enough. But I think, honestly, Shane, your bet slips, greatest thing I've seen. He sent me
He sent them to me too, yeah.
page and page. Like, he's
He's going to be a
He stands
very,
to do
very, very
very
rich
fucking well.
man if he
He stands to do very well if Trump gets up, and the odds keep coming in.
Yeah.
Like regardless of all the news reports that everyone's saying, the odds keep coming in that
Yeah.
Trump's actually going to win this.
They do keep coming in, yeah.
And the betting agencies, they don't fuck around with this shit. They don't bring an odd in for shits and
No, they
giggles.
don't. Yeah, that's right. So if if Trump wins the presidency, Shane's going to be a very rich man.
Well-
You won't hear from him again.
Shane Glenfiddich.
Yeah, it's his shout.
Yeah, big time, big time.
So we might have Shane on next week. We're not just going to be talking conspiracies. If we have Shane on, it'll be the standard cultural talk, what's going on in the world.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm sure Shane will have a few things to sound off on. So yeah, join us next week. Thanks heaps for joining us tonight.
Damo.
Yeah, thanks, Damo.
Oh,
Thanks for
you
coming
know
on,
what?
brother.
You know what? You're welcome, guys.
You're going to have to come back. You're going to have to come back. It was good.
By popular demand.
Did you enjoy it?
Mate, I did.
It's
I've
fun.
had a ripper. I've
Yeah.
had a ripper.
Yeah. So no, definitely come back on, brother.
Too easy.
All right, guys, we are out of here. Take it easy.
You're listening to the Trojan Hour. Yeah, the boys.